PTSD awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
A 19-year-old Boaz man is behind bars for the sexual assault of a 5-year-old. Ricardo Tomas admitted to the assault after an investigation was conducted just last month. Tomas is currently in the DeKalb County Detention Center. There's a hold on Thomas from another law enforcement agency, but further details about that hold have not been provided by the Sheriff's Department. The Alabama Attorney General's office has raided 6 bingo halls in Jefferson County just this past Thursday. All 6 locations were shut down, according to the AG's office. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
When you need a new door or window replaced, you want it done right. Someone who delivers expert craftsmanship every time, experience is a must. Listen, Davis Door and Sash. They can show you new doors and windows that can help you lower your utility bills and boost energy efficiency. Davis Door and Sash, Alabama.com or call 334-288-6010. Davis Door and Sash, the perfect fit for your home.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
How you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome in Friday edition of the program. I think everybody's on vacation, though. I can just feel it. There aren't that many folks listening, so we're going to have a lot of fun today. No Eduardo Baderez, no Eddie Bader. At least that's what he tells me. But Craig Munger, who's here in the studio. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm all right.
I wore Eddie's shirt today for him, and he's not even here.
That is the literal new shirt that Eddie and Hannah.
Yeah, it's got a picture of him on the back. See?
Yeah, it does.
So he's with us, sort of.
Okay. Well, he's with us in spirit, I suppose. But I mean, he's been crazy busy. So we're gonna miss you, Eddie, on this Friday. But there's so many different directions we could go. I guess the big breaking news is these Supreme Court rulings.
Yeah, they decided to really roll out a bunch right before the weekend, didn't they?
Exactly right. And I mean, one that's the massive major win is the Supreme Court rules against nationwide injunctions in the birthright citizenship case. So I think this affects a lot of cases going forward where the universal injunctions and nationwide injunctions just will not be allowed. Another one where the Supreme Court slaps down a district in Montgomery County, Maryland, where parents can pull their kids out of a particular class if there is gay curriculum. I have to say, I've gone the whole month of June and I've not heard anything about pride. But at this point in my life, and the more I see these, like the rainbow flags and stuff, and the reactions to folks, I'm starting to think, I don't know if you realize this, Craig, I'm starting to think this whole pride thing's pretty gay.
Yeah, it's pretty fruity.
Yeah. And it's not cool anymore. Like, and I don't even mean like, yeah, you do what you do in your private life. There's always been flourish, so to speak. But like the in your face march down the street. We're going to teach it to your kids. We're going to teach it. It's in like, you see it some, I guess, on some of the streaming services. I'm like, yeah. Great. Wonderful. But I've not seen it as pronounced in corporate presentation. And this is a big win today in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I think it's relevant to mention like all the shows and the movies that are coming out now were stuff that was filmed and produced a year or more ago. So I think there's going to be a big drop in the level of these super gay promoting, LGBTQ promoting movies and shows because they haven't really found a way to get it into a show without it seeming as forced as it is.
Right. For instance, there's talk. It could be the sexualized stuff. It could be the race stuff. There's talk of the new James Bond being black. And I'm like, I don't care. Just make it a badass movie. Make it a good movie. Don't make it about him being a black man. He's just James Bond.
Yeah.
Make it a cool James Bond movie. Come on. Like, that's all I care about. Make good movies. What this show, I hadn't even looked at it. I've just seen little reviews called Ironheart, where it's about a chick who can build the same suits like Tony Stark, but hers are solar powered. What? Isn't the whole point of like Tony Stark's genius is he created the arc reactor and like perpetual energy?
Perpetual energy, clean. Well, sort of clean. He needed originally that core that began poisoning, but then he invented the element that allows him to have clean energy, and then he did it to fuel the city. And then Loki tried to take that and use it to bring back the hordes that were secretly working for Thanos. Right. So yeah, it completely destroys the whole premise of the Tony Stark arc.
And she's complaining that nobody will give her the money to do stuff. I'm like, he did this in the desert while he was a prisoner to terrorists.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Stark was able to build this. That first Iron Man,
amazing movie.
It's an amazing movie.
There are some of those Marvel movies that do hold up. I still think when the Russo brothers came in, so Captain America, Winter Soldier, I like.
Yeah.
Even Civil War is still a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it's all right.
It leans into the spectacle. But I thought the Russos were fine. Taika Waititi was fine until that last Thor, but I might have taken several gummies before I went into the theater, so I thought it was great. The screaming goats are hilarious.
Christian Bale was a great villain in that. I mean, the storyline itself was, but again, it's just this new injecting of everything gay into Marvel movies. You had the lesbian leader of New Asgard, and then you had the rock guy who their whole species is gay, and it's just like, okay,
right.
And then you had the Doctor Strange whatever multiverse thing he did, and yeah, we get it, lady.
America Chavez or something like that.
She wears a pride pin and she has 2 moms. Just shut up.
Yeah, I know. And I tried to rewatch some of these. My grandfather had never seen, like the Doctor Strange one. I will say you get some amazing Sam Raimi visuals and moments, but that's it. Like, it's a mess of a story. And it is laying it on thick with the messaging. Just make good movies. Seriously.
Yeah, but even like the other side of the wokeness that I just, when you have an action movie that is based in like real life, where the main character is a female, you lose me so quickly.
Oh, right. Especially this modern, like they're all John Wick and can take people out with a punch and stuff like that.
I'm sorry, I can't see Angelina Jolie beat up 50 Navy SEALs and have anything other than laughter in my soul.
Right. A lot of this just ain't happening.
It's just silly. It's just silly.
So, I mean, the entertainment scene needs to step up its game. I guess Tom Cruise single-handedly is trying to hold things up. And yeah, I've been hearing good things about this F1 Brad Pitt movie.
It looks really good.
Yeah. And so maybe, some of the classic movie stars are just going to keep making classic films. I have seen a weird thing because Cruise is in the news given Mission Impossible. It was all right. Well, it was okay. I saw it in theaters. Like, the action's amazing, second to none, but the story's a little convoluted. And it was a kind of a long goodbye, and also tying it back to the rest of the series.
What number is this? Like 8?
8.
Yeah. Hey, and for them really not to have jumped the shark on the 8th film, I think that says something. Now, obviously, obviously it appears everyone's under the consensus that it's time for the series to go away. But it's much better than the Fast and Furious sagas.
Oh
which
my God,
are so preposterous and unentertaining.
So because I think Crew's name's out there, and Crew showed up unexpectedly at the F1 premiere to surprise Brad Pitt, and they're like, let's do an action movie together, or that could be awesome. But people are trying to, at least in my Twitter feed, and maybe it's just the times of all the conspiracies are true. I've never seen this movie. I just know all my parents and my aunt and uncle walked out on it in the theater, but Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. Never seen it. And there are a lot of folks online saying this movie's polarizing, but it got a bad rap. This is one of his more insightful, nuanced films, especially with some of the stuff we know in our day and age.
Not honestly, I don't think it's quite as insightful. It's an interesting. Well, it's a vulgar movie.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't watch it now for $1 million. But
never seen
it. You haven't seen it. Well, it doesn't have much of a point, and it doesn't have much of a resolution. It's actually, as far as Kubrick's works, I think it's one of my least favorites.
So I'm wondering, is somebody just trolling me on Twitter then to watch this thing? Because I've never had any desire, and now I'm like, well, maybe.
I mean, if you like just gratuitous boobies and then like a somewhat decent storyline,
there are days where I like boobies.
Yeah, then if that's your jam, check it out. But
no, I mean, what did you expect me to say? Ew, boobies, ew.
There's well, never mind. I was gonna say something, but yeah, it was sort of just a sneak peek into how people think that the rich and powerful get down, and it's really not that. It's far less entertaining. Are they absolute degenerates? Yes, but they're not going to like these clubhouses where they have rituals and there's hookers, and it's just not. Yeah, and I'm not spoiling. The movie's been out for 40 years or something. Like I'm not getting spoiled.
No, I looked up the plot yesterday because I kept seeing it on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, his wife Nicole Kidman's like gonna have an affair, so he goes on this like mind-bending bender through the world of the rich and powerful to experiment himself, and then they make up at the end or something like that.
Well, it's not that she was going to have an affair. It was they were having an argument.
Thoughts about it, yeah.
They were having an argument, and then she essentially just lets the cat out of the bag about this one time she had this crazy fantasy about like a naval officer. She's doing it to intentionally get under his skin because she's an awful person, and I think that's the most intense part of the movie, because those two were not having a great relationship in real life. And so it came through in that scene pretty heavy.
That stuff makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that sort of stuff.
I still think either Clockwork or Shining is probably my favorite. I mean, I haven't even seen.
I think Space Odyssey.
I was about to say, you told me I haven't seen that yet.
That movie's amazing. I mean, you got to be ready for it's a slow burn, but if you just let it go, it's ambivalent and vague ending is why I think it's so great. It kind of leaves it open to interpretation and stops being about clear plot and language, and it becomes very visual, impressionistic, almost like a dream. And you're like, okay, and what the heck just happened here? And it's so, especially with what's going on with AI right now, very insightful.
Is that the
HAL 9000? Yeah, it's the one that runs the ship, and
that's how culturally relevant it is. I've never seen the movie, but
I'll put it this way: the movie is so good in the presentation of the AI that you start feeling some empathy for the AI. Like, it's the way it characterizes it, the way it's very subtle. Brilliant movie.
Did you ever see Her with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes. Really good movie.
Really good. And then, of course, I think the biggest, it's not the best, but it is the one that really sparked the dangers of AI conversation for our generation, was Ex Machina.
Recently rewatched that.
Yeah. And does it hold up? I
think it does. It does, in the sense that the reveals of what's actually going on are very well paced, great beats. Isaac, the guy, I'm trying to remember his name. He was in the Star Wars movies. Anyway, he was the flyboy in the Star Wars movies.
Oh,
the fighter pilot.
Oh, the guy from Dune.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's really good at it as sort of the genius inventor and drunk, and it does anticipate a lot of these humanoid robots we're seeing, and the how much do you trust these things is a very good premise. I don't know. There's so many different ways we could go, but I kind of want to bring it local and simple. which we could go all over the place. You weren't here last Friday.
I was not.
And I jokingly got on the Jeff Ford, so you took away my co-host, man. But you were assigned, I believe, to go check out a certain amenity, a certain tourist attraction here
yes, I was.
in the city of Montgomery. And I'm bringing this up perilously because I always hear from folks when we bring it up, but you went to Montgomery Whitewater. And I read your write-up, and it trended all week.
Yeah.
But I want to just get it direct from you. What was it like going and seeing the facilities, talking to the folks running it?
I was shocked, actually, at the lack of people that were there on a Friday in the afternoon on the first day of summer. I was like, I thought I was doing something wrong. Like, am I allowed to be here? It was that few people.
Wow.
A shockingly small amount of people. And so I went there. Well, and the other thing is, I know that it's not, they don't really talk about it as being they don't say it's a water park, but they call it a whitewater park. But like most things in this century, you kind of leave out the white, and you I thought that was funny. And so people kind of just assume that it's a bit like a water park, and there's really not. There's a few like little playground areas. There's like a bike path.
Do they have a rock wall up now?
Well, no, they're planning on putting the rock wall up in the next year. So they have like a small rock wall, like maybe a 10-footer for kids.
Yeah.
But it's nothing too impressive. But it is really just the whitewater rafting, and you have to think like you have to be like 10 in order to do it. So that kind of limits the kind of people that have kind of come to your water park. So you might want to start including some stuff for kids. But the other thing I went there to check and to verify was that they don't collect sales tax, which I thought was strange because
they're a cooperative district.
Well, because they're a cooperative district, but I'm not sure if that applies to retailers in the park itself. How could it? So I don't know. There's like a restaurant there. I ordered 2 cookies. I didn't get to eat the cookies. I took a small nibble, but then the rest I gave to my kids.
Oh, okay.
And my wife. But they're cute. The cookies look great. It was $8 for 2 cookies. So I'm not sure. 10, they were pretty small, but they were very, very decorative. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm sort of just wondering why. My question is, why didn't you have more things available when you opened? Because we're going on 2 years now. It's been open. So the newness of it is sort of worn off. And there's not really much for families to do. I mean, I guess you could if nobody in your family's under 10, but school's out, you want to go do something, and you hear about this water park and you show up and there's nothing for your kids to do.
And so it's really 2 rafting rapid courses.
Yeah.
One is really challenging and one is...
Yeah. And I didn't go on them because I was in like regular people clothes.
Right.
It wouldn't have been good for my camera. So, I mean, and they're talking about expansion and development. And I'm just like, man, getting grants. And so I just don't know, like, how relevant is it going to be by the time you get more stuff put in 2 years? Honest question. Because here we are 2 years in. Yeah, God knows there was not a media, but like a real campaign from the government to boast and talk about how awesome it was. Well, now here we are on the first day of summer in June in Alabama, and hardly anybody. I don't think I saw more than 12 people.
Wow.
I mean, other than like employees that work there.
Well, and like, I'm not a cheerleader for it. I'm also not. I try not to be like, because there's plenty of folks that this should never happen and it'll never work. And I'm trying to think though, like, I don't have any reason to want to go down there. Like, me.
Yeah.
And like, I don't like, this is not a huge attraction to me. Like, you might have gotten me if you had something like a traditional water park, like a lazy river.
Yeah.
Or something just where you can go relax and hang out and have a good meal.
They're going to put that in at some point, a flat water area where you can like do what's the standing where you stand up and you.
Oh, the paddle boarding?
Yeah, paddle boarding. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like, why wouldn't you have all of these amenities when you first open? I think the criticism for most people, I think it's fair, is how rushed and shoddy of a job it was. Like it was 100% over budget, something like that. More than 100%.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being that they keep saying 90, but I'm actually getting more information as we speak behind the scenes that's closer to like 119.
Yeah, the more has definitely been put in by the county.
Yeah, I mean, and the city donated the land, so there's a monetary value to that. Then they had the bonds, and they got some from the state. Then they got some from the Porch Creek Indians, and they got some from the city. Then they got some from the county, and it's over $100 million for a small whitewater rafting thing. And I don't know if they know this, but we're close to a lot of rivers.
Yeah, like I have kayaked on the Coosa before.
Yeah. So you have to offer something a little bit more, but they rushed through it. They spent $100 million on this thing. It's been open for 2 years now. The outside of the city, just the street when you're pulling up to the water park still looks like Fallujah. And I think the question needs to be asked, why were they so bullish on this to push it through whenever it just doesn't seem to have been executed properly? And you're talking about spending more money while they say attendance is up, but I don't know what the hell that means. They say attendance is up, but you're going to steadily be bleeding money while you're trying to put in these new attractions. And then at that point, it's just another thing in Montgomery that people don't go to anymore.
Right. Let's say I was playing the old school simulator like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah, I used to love that.
I would be building roller coasters or stupid little kiosks or party games or little wild thrill rides. I'm water.
I don't.
Really?
That's a great question. It's like this is a state that really doesn't have an amusement park. We have to go to Six Flags in Atlanta. Now, obviously, an amusement park is going to cost more than $100 million, but I can't imagine it's too much more.
Right. And so were you able to talk? I think they do have a new director.
Yeah, he came. The guy came from the Biscuits. What was his name? Jason, I think.
Yeah, nice enough guy, and seems like the Biscuits seem to be doing all right. So it's like
he's the guy. If you're going to get someone to do it, I would say just from talking to him, it seems like he's the guy.
What was he saying to you? What was his hope?
Well, he was pretty honest. He's like, it's still in the infancy. We have lots of stuff planned. So as far as the development on the outside, you have to let people see the vision, see what the Whitewater Park can do, and then they'll come and buy up those buildings and put in retail shops, restaurants, whatever. And they're going to put like a hotel, they said, on there. But again, who's staying overnight for this? Nobody.
Right. Well, and then you talk about the synergy with like all the EJI stuff that's been stood up. And part of me is like, how many times do people come see that? Like, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong about this, your peak year was going to be when these, say, memorials and stuff first opened.
Yeah.
And Oprah comes down, and it is a big deal. And it did bring a bunch of money. I'm not knocking that. I'm saying, how long does that sort of momentum go?
Well, I mean, there's school trips, and that's about it. But nobody's like, hey, man, you want to go? You know what I want to go do on a Saturday, especially if you're a Caucasian, is go see how I'm complicit in every ill that has befallen Black Americans since the dawn of time, and then see how like I'm sort of quasi responsible for mass incarceration. And I'm going to go do that on my Saturday because Oprah put it up in Montgomery.
Well, and even if you're like all about it, I want to learn the history. I want to.
Don't go there. If you want to learn the history, don't go there.
I'm saying I'm buying their telling of the history and stuff. Even if you're like fully bought in on that, like how many times do you want to go visit that? It's kind of like the Holocaust Museum. In fact, they've compared it to that in DC. Like I remember going to that one as a kid. I'm good. Yeah. I saw it. Like I don't want to go again.
One and done.
Yeah, I don't need to see that again.
Well, see, I'm terrible for knowing for perspective on this because I helped build the freaking place, the EJI.
Oh, really?
So I've seen all the lynching section, the civil rights section, the mass incarceration section. I've seen the entire place 85 times because I was there while they were putting everything in. And so we were there sort of from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
So I got to see him get put in. So I'd see all these new attractions, see all these George Wallace quotes. And then they have this really atrocious, the mass incarceration section where it's sort of designed to where you walk through it and it tells a story.
Right.
The opulence of that place from me being in there and putting it up, they spent an ungodly amount of money putting that up. But this last section where it's like, you go and you learn a little bit about the history of slavery in America. Then you hear a little bit about civil rights. And then they go to mass incarceration and they try to juxtapose the slavery aspect with the mass. And I'm sorry, that is the most, it's disrespectful and it's dishonest and it's silly. But again, speaking of the opulence, there's like where you pick up a phone and there's a screen where it's almost like you're talking to someone through like jail visitation.
Yeah.
And you go through this process and they have different screens with different people.
Yeah.
To like tell their story or whatever. And it's just, again, the juxtaposition was insulting.
They need to start incorporating like Grok or some other AI to where it's like you can really interact with that person on the other side of the screen.
I want a holographic tour guide.
Holographic tour guide. I like that.
And maybe someone, like, depending on it could be someone based on, like, in that time frame, like around like the 1960s and 70s and 80s.
Well, what you really want is to be Westworld, and like it's real. Your guides are these, like you're living in that time.
I could live.
Actually, that would go in the wrong direction. No, I don't think that would be good, folks. It's Friday. I think most people are already on vacation, so we're just going to be all over the place. In a second, there are clips of this Ma'am Donnie or Ma'am Danny or.
Someone, why do people care about this guy? I'm just so like, oh, really? He's a liberal wackadoo from New York. Get right out of town.
Right, the same place that elected Bill de Blasio.
Exactly.
The same place that elected Andrew Cuomo to be governor.
Yeah, what we call chilly California. Like it's,
right. And by the way, genius idea. If you're so worried about this guy being your Democratic nominee, you chose Andrew Cuomo to run against him. The guy who killed grandma and shut down the whole city.
I swear that was intentional. They did that just to give the guy a freebie. And Cuomo can closer than I expected.
Yeah, but I was like, really, we're seeing the Cuomo sexual thing online again? Like this is not cool. But I think something you and I both could respond to. I do have a clip of this guy being asked about, does he like capitalism? And it's been a while since the politics has moved more into this sort of cultural fight on most issues. And Trump has really blown up the economic orthodoxy of the Republican Party in a lot of
especially
ways.
with the judiciary out of the way in a big way.
Ooh, yeah. So like it is good to be reminded of like why socialism bad. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, and so maybe we could react to this guy in just a second. Also, as I'm looking at, I'm sure you've seen these reports that the Gaza war might end in 2 weeks, and there's some big deal.
I mean, it kind of has to. There's nothing left to blow up.
Yeah.
There's nothing left. What are you going to do? Start bombing rubble? No, and the only reason it's over, they're saying it's going to be over in 2 weeks, by the way, is the same reason why they're trying to pretend like Fordo was destroyed, because Israel needs a time for a little breaky poo because they're running out of crap to shoot at people.
You don't think Fordo was destroyed?
No. I said it when it dropped. I said I'd bet my house that Fordo's still intact. And I still stand by that. Again, it's like bunker buster isn't the same thing as a mountain buster. And I'm not saying they couldn't destroy it. I'm saying I was unconvinced that a single strike, no matter how many bombs you drop on. Again, the Iranians aren't stupid. They are aware of what military technology is out there. And so not only does it seem very likely that they removed a significant amount of their centrifuges and their nuclear material out of Fordo and other locations, but it seems like they said the entrance was maybe disabled, but that's a couple months to get operational again. And that's what the intelligence report said, that it was delayed by a couple months. And Trump is desperately trying to pretend like it had this devastating, crippling effect, because he knows otherwise he either has to go back in there and restrike those areas, or his justification for the initial strike, it looks like the BS that it was. So he's in a really, really tough spot.
Well, he said in the press conference today, he's doing a victory up about the Supreme Court, that he'd strike again.
Yeah.
So,
and
I don't know. Like I'm looking at the satellite imagery and the presentations like everybody else.
Well, the satellite imagery I think is misleading, because the whole point of the bunker busters is to go down.
Yeah.
So it really looks like almost nothing happened in certain satellite images. But
there's a lot of interpretations out there too. Like folks saying, like, you can see here how like Fordo the mountain is discolored.
Yeah.
Like that would be the effects of a massive shockwave coming from underground.
And this justification that they're talking about. Well, I mean, first of all, most people that are talking about Fordo learned about Fordo a week ago.
Sure.
And
like everything.
Oh, dear God, it's the worst. It's like,
well, yeah, about what's the name of the site they hit with the cruise missiles? Isfahan,
yeah.
As I'm watching it being announced that Trump's striking, I turned to Fox News just to see live, because it's just over the top.
Yeah.
And Sean Hannity's still hosting.
Oh my God.
And he's talking about they hit Fordo, they hit Natanz, they hit Esteban. Like, oh, Esteban.
It's like, and again, it's difficult being an anti-Zionist in the South. It really is. but like trying to have these conversations, especially online, which once again, I only do on when I'm doing cardio. So you guys are lucky that I'm in the crazy phase of my diet where I'm doing like an hour of cardio a day. But watching people and like, man, you're having to Google stuff between comments. Like this isn't the way discourse should be done. If you honestly don't know anything about what you're talking about, then you should probably shush. But everyone's like, the IAEA, what does the IAEA stand for? Tell me what it stands for. Yeah, that's because you're just repeating what that fat idiot Sean Hannity said on Fox News. The way all of these people are. They just see what Hannity or the Fox News talking head, like, well, Donald Trump's president, so I trust the media now. The same people that crapped all over Fox News whenever they can Tucker Carlson. Now that Trump's in, Fox News is good all of a sudden? CNN is still bad, but Fox News is good again. Why? Mark Levin, you protoplasmic, spineless invertebrate. Sorry, I'm done.
So let's say, and I'm doing this for the sake of argument, the big F, because it always has seemed like the logic of the Abraham Accords was to go around the conventional wisdom that the way you solve the wars and problems in the Middle East is you solve the Israeli-Palestinian problem first. The Abraham Accord said, no, you don't have to solve that first. You might be able to actually go around it. That would help you solve that and rebalance the region. It seems like here's the logic, that you're going to unite the Israeli Arab, say, faction with the Qatari and Turkish. And you unite them, not like they're going to love each other, but unite them, number one, in their common worry about Iran.
The Sunnis and the Shias are getting along in the Middle East better than they ever have in history right now, by the way.
Well, and this was a big part of that Trump tour. That initial tour is like kind of bringing everybody onto the same page. We're going to unite with normalization economically, with trading. You had Witkoff yesterday saying we've got some big announcements coming, more added to the Abraham Accords. And so on top of, say Saudi Arabia jumps in, and a few others jump in. And then what happens with Gaza? What's been publicized is they would exile Hamas, and it would be a joint governance structure by a lot of these Arab nations.
I think that's a fairly decent
I think it's
solution.
a very good idea.
Because Hamas just simply can't be around.
Right.
You can't be there. I'm sorry. Yeah, you've had some military campaigns, but you've also had a lot of campaigns against civilians. So you simply can't be around for this conversation, because if you insist on remaining in power, then that's going to be a red line that nobody's going to.
And look at the change that's happened in places like UAE and Saudi and even Qatar. Like you see, like, okay, guys, y'all seem to know how to run a society on your own terms and your own culture. You run this spot. Let's have normal relations with the Israelis. We're going to essentially work together also militarily. You're already seeing that in real time, looking at Iran and the amount of cooperation. So,
well, that's my, I'm so the selectivity of Trump's actions in the Middle East, of like, it makes sense why he would go to the Saudis, for instance, because a good relationship there, and you can really bypass a lot of the and especially whenever he made relationships between Saudi Arabia and Israel significantly better, that sort of jumped over a lot of other challenges that you have to deal with in that area. But I'm curious as to like why that couldn't have been done with Iran. Like, I seriously don't know. They're rich in oil too. Maybe that's why we decided to bomb them. But why couldn't that process be begun with Iran? They're obviously willing to come to the table to have some sort of negotiation.
Because I think the Iranians are provocative while being weak and not wanting to fully put their cards on the table. You don't build a facility like that under the mountain thinking we're always going to be in good spirits. And I think they've always had the latent deterrent.
That's what
master
the
of the fuel
60%
cycle.
was.
Right. And I think it was really a really dumb idea. Because it's provocative without actually having the goods to back it up.
Well, I mean, but other countries have done the same thing. I don't want to get bogged down on that, but my point is,
like Japan and Germany have latent deterrents, but they also have but say just Japan and Germany, they have the backing of a nuclear power called the United States for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an actual deterrent behind your latent deterrent.
Yeah. Well, to me, the thing is, this lie that the war hawks, the neocons, stated that Iran is somehow a suicidal regime with no interest in its own future. That's simply not true. And in fact, I think if aside from the United States relationship with Israel, you could have had, if diplomatic processes had started earlier, and you took the support for Israel out of the way, don't you think that the relationship between Iran and the U.S. could be fairly good, the same way that it is with the Saudis, with UAE, with Qatar, and all these other places that have just as big of a radical Islam problem and have historically?
Maybe, but the beginning of that relationship is, I mean, it depends where you want to start the clock. You're going to start the clock in the 50s, you're going to start the clock at 79, where this current regime gets started. Like, that begins in bad blood.
Yeah, well, so did Israel and Jordan and Egypt. And look, they have a perfectly good relationship. Now, we pay them
well,
off.
And I guess the argument the Trump administration might make is we've been trying to negotiate.
No, you can't say that when you use your negotiation tactic as a ploy to aid in a sneak attack. Now, again, what made Iran willing to come to the table? They didn't enrich at 60% under the Obama deal.
Right. Well, because they knew they had a timeline, though, because that deal would have been up this year.
Yeah. And there were sunset provisions in there as well. But my point is,
it buys them time.
The point is, they're obviously not a suicidal mass murdering regime. They're just not. Otherwise, they wouldn't have warned the base in Qatar that they were about to strike for this performative thing. So the entire justification that everyone gave for why we needed to strike Iran, first of all, I'm sorry, it's like I entered crazy world. You can't just say that we know they were trying to build nukes, because that doesn't butter parsnips for me. It just doesn't. But again, my point is, why do we have do the Saudis not fund terrorism? Of course they do. Does UAE? Of course they do. Does Qatar? Of course they do. Does Egypt? Of course they do. Does Jordan? Of course they do.
Well, not as much as they did.
As much as who?
As much as they once did.
Oh, as they once did. Yeah,
yes.
But that's the point, is what led to the less funding, the good diplomatic relationship.
And also generational turnover. I've been pointing out the Ayatollah's, 86?
Yeah, but you don't get the generational turnover without the start of some sort of minor diplomacy, and you don't get the diplomacy by bombing people. And I'm sorry, it's just a bit difficult to take this idea that we needed to strike Iran coming from the one country in the Middle East that does have a secret nuclear stockpile. It's just a bit rich. So diplomacy works. We've seen it in Europe. We've seen it in the Middle East. We've seen it in Africa. Everywhere that legitimate diplomacy is well, again, look what happened in Libya. The crazy Gaddafi. Everyone said he was a lunatic. He had nukes. He was willing to work with the U.S. And then, of course, as soon as he did, we got him out of there pretty quick. So my point is, the selective diplomacy of the United States is obviously self-serving in their interests.
I'm thinking, though, that and this is all a big if on how it works out, but if Trump does create this counterbalance where you have fused everybody together against the interests of Iran, and really what Iran has now is what militias in Iraq, the Houthis, and I mean, Hezbollah is pretty neutered. Hamas is pretty much decimated. And so you have Egypt, Jordan, Syria, even Lebanon, the Saudis, the Qataris, the Emiratis, like you have everybody joining hand in hand, even though, Erdogan in Turkey makes a lot of noise. It seems like Trump might end up and then you get a two-state solution with the Arabs running Gaza. You have, I think you were never going to take off the table in the same way we have airspace control over Puerto Rico, but Puerto Rico has its own government. I think that's what's probably going to end up in the West Bank. Say all that happens. Trump will have accomplished somebody, number one, people a few years back said would never have been accomplished. And it also was an approach that isn't the neocon approach. It isn't the non-interventionist diplomacy first approach. It's not the Obama approach. It's not the UN Jeffrey Sachs approach. It's this unique one approach. And if it does end up with an outcome of you have normalization of all these folks, you've ended an 80-year conflict between Israel and Palestine.
And then you've unified all of these scary bad people that might realize, oh, we can get along. What can we accomplish now that we're all getting along? It's a bit of there's another edge to that sword.
Well, there always is.
Yeah.
But then the idea is y'all get rich and be a normal country.
But my point is, why are we? Why have we inserted ourselves into this region of the world? They don't want us there. They don't care. It's a region of the world that people don't understand, in the sense of, like, it's not just that you don't understand about the religious and the political makeup. It's not saying that I do, depending on the country, but the way that they think is fundamentally, it's the equivalent of you going to an ancient Greek and trying to talk to him about democratic principles. They don't have the concept to understand it. So we've injected ourselves into this region inexplicably, and now we're responsible for it. That we raising Arizona this thing. We went and stole the baby. Now it's our baby, so we got to figure out what to do
but
with
it seems like it also is a pattern of, yes, y'all need to work together. Europe, y'all need to work together. You start settling also Ukraine, Russia, if that can be done. It allows the United States essentially to focus spending on its own domestic issues, number one, and it allows it to focus all of its military might, and we certainly do have that still, as a deterrence against China. And I don't think you even need to go full super hawk on China where we have necessarily supremacy and we're pushing and being provocative. It doesn't at least seem to be Trump's approach. But it does allow you to essentially flex your muscle all in one direction and have continue the relationship, managing that with China, which this trade deal is inaugurated.
I think that's all true, but I think the thing that most people haven't contended with, even especially Trump, is the destabilizing actor in the Middle East is our quote unquote greatest ally. So how can I think that Jordan and Egypt and Qatar and UAE and all these people could get along? Yes, but how many wrenches is Israel going to throw in that? Because from my perspective, their ultimate goal is the complete annexation of the West Bank and of Gaza. And I don't think they're going to stop until they accomplish that through whatever means. So
I think that Netanyahu will be, and if he's the one in charge,
he won't be. So thank God.
But let's say, because it's the most, he's been the leader for a while. I think what Netanyahu has always wanted is essentially security. They call it Judea and Samaria. But they are I think Netanyahu would be very happy with the Saudis running Gaza while he still has control of the airspace.
I don't. I think he's fanatical about it. I mean, well, honestly, if there's anyone in the Israeli government that you can call a fanatic, I mean, who better fits that description than Netanyahu? Well, so I completely agree with you. I think, well, first of all, I agree with who was it, Omar, who says that he believes that Netanyahu will be in The Hague, and I pray to God that that's true, because finally something can get done in the region. Because you're not going, but this is my biggest fear. I think for Netanyahu, the way that he feels like he stays in power and stays out of The Hague is if there's continual conflict, because the people of Israel it's almost like the Churchill effect. Churchill was hated before World War II, and now he's renowned as this great hero because he was the man for the time.
Well, but then you remember Churchill was told to get out after winning the war.
Well, that's my point. Yeah. So that's exactly my point. Exactly. So Netanyahu is he's advantaged or incentivized, to extend conflicts.
Well, it's a complicated thing.
My God, it's so complicated.
I find sometimes, and a lot of this, I base this on, it was Jared Kushner sat down with Lex Friedman a few years back.
He talked about
and they talked for like 2-3 hours about the Abraham Accords. Then October 7th happened a week after they did that. He came back.
I remember.
And kept talking. And when you heard the whole 3-4 hour conversation, you're like, oh, I at least see how they're trying to approach this problem that has bedeviled the world for generations now.
And Trump
and it might just work.
Well, and Trump does deserve absolute credit for going in there and developing a really good relationship with the House of Saud. I think that's good. My entire point is every criticism that you could throw at Iran, you could throw at the Saudis, and we made it work. So why is bombs the solution in Iran and diplomacy the solution?
Do Saudis have a nuclear program?
Do it now?
Do the Saudis have a robust nuclear program?
No, but then again, the civilian nature of a nuclear program. Do you honestly think, Jody, that they were trying to pursue a nuclear weapon in Iran?
I think they wanted the ability to do that. Yes.
That's a different thing. Wanting the ability to, in a future time. It's not the same thing as secretly developing one.
I think they could have had a civilian program without the infrastructure they had, or the means they were going about doing it, and using the enrichment as the ability to enrich as a bargaining chip and a deterrent.
I hear that. Trust me, I hear that. I just disagree that was a justification for bombing them. I just don't.
Oh, that's a different question. But hey, we have to hit a break. We've been talking for a while.
It's been 48 minutes.
Hey, this part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And there at Smokehouse Pit Barbecue, whether you're in a conversation trying to solve all the world's problems and kick things around. Or maybe you're just like, you know what? It's the holiday season. We're in the middle of summer. I want to eat something tasty and delicious. Well, Smokehouse Pit Barbecue has your back in that regard. Daily meat and 3 that is to die for. Of course, Tuesday through Sunday when they open up at 6:30, you can actually get there a little earlier too. They'll be nice and get you something. Maybe not as quick as when they're officially open, but their breakfast is amazing. A true Southern breakfast that is hard to beat. And starting next weekend, they will have live music on Saturday evenings from 6 to 9, as well as on Friday evenings. And if you are looking to get some catering, say you want to get a bulk order for the 4th of July, they will be closing at 6 p.m. on Friday, July 4th. So you need to pre-order your bulk meats and sides for your weekend celebration. Just call them up at 517-4949. Simple enough, 517-4949. And go to their website, go on Facebook. You can see the menu for, say, big bulk buys if you're looking to get some great catering services there from Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. Maybe you already know the place. You love the place. You want to impress the family, the whole fam as you're getting together for the 4th of July. But you got to start getting those orders in. Get in touch with those great folks there at Smokehouse. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Not much change in our overall weather situation. Temperatures perhaps not quite as extreme, but hot enough. A good bit of sunshine today with a high in the low to mid-90s, triple-digit heat indices again. And then today, tomorrow, Sunday, and through midweek, scattered, random, mostly afternoon and evening storms. And in this kind of heat, some of these storms can really put on a show. Don't forget, if you're close enough to hear thunder, even distant thunder, you're close enough to be struck and killed. Take it easy, stay hydrated. From the AMS Weather Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASE.
ASE, an equal housing lender.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, you will immediately see the difference in pricing. Not only do we offer the most competitive rates, but our closing costs rank among the lowest in the industry. How do we do it? Because we can. We do not have the overhead that big banks and lenders do. Those big banks and lenders have big expenses. And what do? They pass those expenses along to you. Meanwhile, here at Alabama Home Mortgage, we receive wholesale rates which result in big savings that we pass along to you. Don't pay more for less. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our rates and pricing are just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
4th of July savings are here at the Home Depot with up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery like GE Profile. Simplify your routine with GE Profile appliances. From refrigerators with autofill pitchers and multiple dispensing options to all-in-one washer-dryer combos that can wash and dry a full load in under 2 hours. Shop 4th of July savings on top brand appliances now at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
This is David Ernest from the Health and Wealth Show. We like to cut up and have fun, maybe poke a little fun at some politicians, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. One thing we do take seriously is your personal finances and your plans for retirement. You can tell by listening, we're a little different. Yeah, we like to have a good time on the radio, but we're dead serious about your financial future and helping you achieve your goals. At Ernest Financial, we're committed to giving you the attention you need. We don't treat you like a number. You're way more important to us. At Ernest Financial, it's about helping you today and preparing you for tomorrow. People call us who are on the verge of retirement, and they know they need a plan for the future. No matter where you are in life, Ernest Financial will help guide your every step towards retirement. Give us a call and let us show you what our individual customer attention can do for your future.
Concerned about your retirement? Call David Ernest toll free at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Greg Munger in the studio. We're going to hit a top of the hour break in just a second. But, you know, per our discussion, Greg, there was an impromptu press conference. Trump is in front of the freaking camera and microphones every day. It is, honestly, that aspect of him is very impressive. I know he lives for it and always has. But he was asked this question in particular. With all the questioning going on about what actually is going to be the future of Iran and what's going on there, what will the United States do?
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it. Go ahead.
On Iran.
You tell me when it gets boring. Okay?
If Iran...
Are you from Iran?
No, I'm not from Iran. I'm from the UK. But if the intelligence reports conclude that Iran can enrich uranium to a level that concerns you, would you consider bombing the country again?
Without question, absolutely.
Have you had any
Turned out to be unbelievable. But, our incredible flyers and I call them the shots. These guys are unbelievable. Think from 52,000 feet, they hit the equivalent of a refrigerator door. They actually hit it right in the center, so it's much smaller than that. And just bomb after bomb going deeper, blowing up. Incredible thing. I don't know if you heard the general. He was very impressive. Raisin Cane. He's the one that beat ISIS for me. And he did it in a matter of weeks.
Not in Syria. Sorry.
So, the question was, would you do it again? Yeah, sure. And
Coverville is a bit more non-committal.
Yeah, you did some reporting on that recently.
Yeah,
it came out today.
It's a legit question. It was yesterday. Now, again, I asked him this question before he had the classified briefing about what they discovered. But from what I've seen, at least the Republican law, this is why partisanship ruins truth, because the Democrats are going to say that there was nothing definitive. We don't know the extent of the damage, or it wasn't as damaging as we thought.
Lindsey Graham, my God, I want to punch him in the face.
Did he say that it wasn't?
We didn't get it. We didn't get any of it.
I can imagine why he would say that.
Right. This is why, by the way, I'm kind of riding the fence, because a lot of the neocons are really rooting for we didn't destroy anything.
Honestly, I tend to find the death of anyone to be undesirable.
Yeah.
But much like when Kissinger kicked the bucket, when Graham's gone, I'm gonna be fairly pleased with that result because it's one fewer person trying to throw my countrymen into the hell of war yet again.
It's been crazy. Anyway, we're running out of time. So Tuberville, he hadn't gotten that briefing yet.
Yeah, he hadn't got that briefing yet, but he said that he would leave it up to Trump, which is sort of a standard answer. But again, he's following the party line of the fact that they can't be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Well, I don't. The poisoned pill nature of the negotiations that were going on, where you said no enrichment versus some enrichment, I honestly just think that was Trump's ego and trying to well, for the Israelis, it's because they wanted to strike Iran, but I think Trump wanted it to be quote unquote better than the Obama deal, so he wanted to be a little bit more strict. But so I don't know. We can't be in this perpetual stalemate of they can't have a nuclear weapon. Well, we're not building a nuclear weapon. Well, you can't have a nuclear weapon. Well, so yeah, I think it was a really bad strategic error for them to keep their enrichment to 60%. But at this point, you have to stick with your original line of why you bombed them, and if you don't, then you're admitting that you lied. So,
well, it reminds me of the U.S. marching NATO up to Russia's doorstep.
Oh, 100%.
It's like, well, we're not doing this to attack you. And I think there are a lot of people in NATO who generally believe that. If I was Russia, I wouldn't worry so much about, the people you see on TV at NATO summits. I would worry about the American intelligence. I'd be very paranoid about them. But then Russia would be like, no, you're obviously marching up to where you could strike us within minutes. You could completely decapitate us. And you're like, oh, you're just paranoid. And I think you see the same dynamic, like, well, we can enrich whatever we want. We'll build these facilities you can't touch. And it's like, and we're not doing this to, to actually go to war.
Inspectors in those facilities. Like, again, it's not, Iran really screwed up, and I'm not a fan of the Iranian regime. But once, to me, just mainly because I hate Israel and what they do, but it's just the hypocrisy of the Israeli. Israel has been more hostile to its neighbors than Iran. That is objectively true. And they're allowed to have a secret nuclear weapon and not be part of the non-proliferation treaty. I'm sorry, the hypocrisy is just, that's a pill that's too big for me to swallow.
Well, and on that note, we got to hit our top hour break. And we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Iran's top diplomat says new nuclear talks with the U.S. are unlikely soon, citing complications from recent American military strikes. However, the foreign minister did leave open the possibility that his country might again enter talks about that nuke program. Busy day on the Supreme Court. The Trump administration winning a legal battle with the court. Justices ruled that individual judges lack the authority to grant nationwide injunctions that effectively block presidential executive orders. It's a big win for Donald Trump. And the High Court has upheld a Texas law aimed at blocking kids from seeing pornography online. More than a dozen states have passed similar age verification laws as smartphones make it much easier these days to access porn. This is SRN News.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. As executive director of Turning Point USA, a national radio host, podcaster, husband, and father of two, my schedule is about as crazy as it can possibly get. 2 years ago, I made the decision to take control of my health, and I chose PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition because I needed a plan that fit my hectic lifestyle. I travel a lot, and my schedule changes every week, so I need something simple. They customized a plan for my body and my schedule, and I quickly lost 30 pounds. Now I have the energy and focus to get through my busy day. PhD will help you too. They won't let you fail. Just give them a call, schedule your weight loss consultation, and see if their program is right for you. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020. The first 11 callers who mention the word healthy will get 2 weeks added to their weight loss package. Call 855-696-2020 and mention the word healthy, or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. That is myphdweightloss.com. It worked for me, and it can work for you. myphdweightloss.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. Alabama Wholesale Lumber, the best quality building materials in the river region for decades. From common builds to special orders and local delivery. Call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Not much change in our overall weather situation. Temperatures perhaps not quite as extreme, but hot enough. A good bit of sunshine today with a high in the low to mid 90s, triple-digit heat indices again. And then today, tomorrow, Sunday, and through midweek, scattered, random, mostly afternoon and evening storms. And in this kind of heat, some of these storms can really put on a show. Don't forget, if you're close enough to hear thunder, even distant thunder, you're close enough to be struck and killed. Take it easy, stay hydrated. From the AMS Weather Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Whitewater tubing is coming to Montgomery's Whitewater Park. Beginning July 4th, during the Red, White, and Tube celebration, you will have the opportunity to ride the rapids in inflatable tubes. The new activity offers a more high-energy take on traditional tubing, adding the challenge of whitewater rafting. Firefighters battled a blaze at an East Montgomery apartment complex late Wednesday night. Fire rescue units arrived at the Verandas Apartments just off Taylor Road around 11 p.m., where the three-story building was engulfed in smoke and heavy flames. There were no injuries reported as everyone was evacuated from the building. A lightning strike is the suspected cause of the fire. The annual Crime Stoppers gun buyback returns to Montgomery on Saturday. This event is part of the ongoing effort to fight gun violence in the capital city by taking weapons off the streets. The gun buyback will be held at Bryant Missionary Church from 10 to 2 p.m. Cash will be paid to anyone who turns in firearms. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
Folks, let's go to the phones and talk to Austin Barenko with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing on this Friday?
Having a great Friday, Joey. How are you and Craig?
Oh, we're doing great. Just flying through the show here. Now, it looks like things are shifting a little bit, or at least they will in the coming weeks, away from foreign policy issues towards the trade issues again. How can you, it would be speculation, but how do you see this maybe playing out with the economy and the market?
Yeah, it's perceptive of you to highlight that we've kind of deviated from the tariff discussion amidst all this stuff going on in the Middle East, but we are coming up against a deadline, which will happen after the July 4th holiday, where any countries that haven't negotiated a deal on tariffs will reset to those very, very aggressive numbers, which caused the market to crater a couple of months back. And so, I was looking at the NASDAQ index particularly, and since the tariffs were originally announced, that indices dropped 25% and recovered 36% in a matter of 3 months. So you're talking about a 61% swing.
Wow.
So more than half of that market, essentially, in that time. And if a majority of deals aren't done, which it's probably nearly impossible to get a majority of the deals done by after July 4th, I would imagine a similar level of volatility. I think that you have a contrast in leadership between Trump and Bessent. And I think that Bessent is more conservative and is going to try to taper back those large numbers that Trump had originally thrown out. But if he's not able to rein in Trump, I think we'll get another severe bout of volatility, which could be a great buying opportunity for people that have cash on the sidelines. So I think that is probably the next big hurdle that the market faces. And then after that happens, we'll probably go through a media cycle of, who knows, anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks of everyone talking about tariffs again and panicking. And then we'll probably move on to something else. But that's what my gut tells me will happen after the July 4th holiday.
Well, and I'm trying to think through, like, even if you throw back up ridiculously high tariffs, a big tariff wall against a few countries that don't want to play ball, does it matter if you do settle the ones that affect our GDP the most and affect our actual trade flows the most, that you can sort of have a few big wins and that will at least calm markets to a degree?
Absolutely. I think that the market is more emotions-based now than it's ever been. So even if, statistically the deals aren't really adding up to be a huge benefit for us, in just the media, if Trump and Besson and their team can spin it in a way that your average consumer digests it as a victory, the market will probably continue to run back up. And it drives, true analysts nuts that there's not really any metrics-based performance in the market these days. It's all emotions-based. But that's the world we live in, and I think the current administration is very good at, driving the market down and recovering it in waves. And the last wave was a 3-month drop in recovery, which is extremely fast compared to, corrections of the past, which have taken, somewhere from a year to 2 years to recover. We're now recovering so much quicker from these swift pullbacks, and it's because of these emotional plays that the administration is able to kind of appease the masses with.
Well, and speaking of emotional displays and like emotional triggers and just volatility in general, I had a thought when Tim Walz was talking bad about Tesla, I should buy some Tesla. I didn't. I didn't pull the trigger on that. I think it's up like 60% last I looked from that time. And then this rollout of the robo-taxis in Austin, Texas. And I'm not asking necessarily advice on an individual stock. It's just amazing how volatile this moment has been. And like you look at Tesla's underlying stuff, like there was no reason for it to fall that much. It's to your point that a lot of this is perception in the news cycle and then fundamentals are real metrics.
Definitely. And Tesla is, of course, a big name. And even if I don't talk about owning it individually, I'd imagine that any basket of investments out there, whether it's a mutual fund or an ETF, you're going to have some exposure to Tesla in your portfolio, most likely, just because it is one of the more successful companies. It's a blue chip company. And so, yeah, that volatility is tough to pinch off for somebody that is, has a lower risk tolerance, but almost every portfolio out there most likely has some of that in it. And yeah, to your point, it has wild swings. I'm looking at a 1-year chart right now. It's been as high as nearly 500 a share in that year, and as low as $190 a share. So you're talking about a massive dispersion within a year's time. For the way that we look at managing money, this would be one of those companies that I would rather hold and shut my eyes and open them in 20 years. I do think that this company and the other companies it's involved in with, autonomous driving, SpaceX, and the satellites they're putting in the sky, all of these are kind of commingled, to call them the Elon basket of investments, are doing things that are transformational for the world. And so if you look back at companies that were transformational in our parents' generation, you're talking about Microsoft and Apple, and those are now, bellwether blue chips. And you've got, I think Tesla is an argument to be one of those companies that in 20 years, it's going to be just as strong of a name as it is now. And I'm not saying that is investment advice. I'm just saying from my perspective, that's how I would look at it, is rather than playing the wild swings daily or yearly, hold it for a long period of time. If you believe in the company, don't try to, trade wildly in and out. Just think about what's it going to be like in 20 years. And I think it'll still be around.
Well, there you go. Well, if folks want to check out what y'all can do for them at Invista Advisors, and it's the investment side's a very important part of a financial plan, but y'all set up a holistic financial plan across the board, depending on where a person is in life and what they're trying to accomplish. That number's still 387-0094.
Yep, that's us, Joey.
Folks, call them up again, 387-0094. Be sure to tell them that you heard Austin Branco on the radio with Joey Clark and want to start the conversation. I appreciate it as always, man. Have a good weekend.
Yep. Y'all too. Bye-bye.
Again, folks, that is Austin Branco with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Brendan with Royal Furniture. A big thank you to Blue Water Broadcasting for helping us launch our Alabama stores in Prattville, Montgomery, Auburn, Gadsden, Athens, Decatur, Oxford, and Florence. We appreciate your hard work and dedication. Here's to a strong partnership and even stronger results. Thanks, Blue Water.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Craig Longer back in the studio.
Yay!
Sorry, I just wanted to listen to my own music for a second.
I like this. Very groovy.
Yeah, it was a fun afternoon. Let's go to Papa B on line 3.
Papa B.
Hey, Papa B.
Mr. Monger, welcome back.
Hey,
you feeling
thank you.
better?
Yeah, I mean, nerve pain is kind of a pain in the rear end or a pain in the arm. To be
I'm
more
such a dude, by the way. I didn't even all these people are like, how's Craig doing? And we just start going. Like, who cares? Like,
yeah, he doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. But yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking, Papa B. At least
Good,
somebody
I'm glad.
cares.
That's somebody. Papa B always cares. Papa B cares about people. So, I mean, just real briefly.
real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt. I
Go
care.
ahead.
I'm just not going to be that way in the month of June.
In the merry
I know
month
you
of June.
I know.
Sorry.
But just briefly, I mean, before I get into what I really want to talk about, I just want to say, it kind of to state the obvious, a lot of people, I think, feel like, oh, the market is this urethral mist out there that has a mind of its own, and we have to see what's going on. It's at its basic definition, it is just the interaction of people buying and selling. That's what the market is.
Yes.
And so, no, it's not like some almighty mystic hand out there.
Yeah, that's at best. That's an analogy. The hand of the market. It's like that's.
Although
you're
people
right.
do put their thumb on the scales a lot. So, so anyway, I've always been a fan of what I'm going to call the offense-only strategy toward bad actors. We've had this model since World War II, where we just go in and obliterate the country and then build them back up and spend a bunch of money doing both. Trump's way is a different way, and I believe it's going to work. We're just going to say, look, if you mess up, we're just going to come ruin your day. And if you keep messing up, we're just going to keep ruining your day. We're not going to spill any blood over there on your behalf. Y'all got to solve the problem. And so I like that approach, actually. I think it's going to be, I believe it's going to be effective. Craig, you asked the question, why are we over there? Well, we're over there for a lot of reasons. That's a multi-layered cake if I ever heard one. We're over there mainly because the globalists wanted it that way. From Nixon forward, there was this idea that we were going to kind of aid and help and try to develop the rest of the undeveloped world, and we did it through the petrodollar.
Yeah, it was the Cold War great game, essentially.
Sure. And so, it got us entangled into all this mess that we found ourselves in. Now that it's all in there, I mean, there's not really any great way to stop it other than
stop it.
Stop it.
You could just stop. You could just stop doing it.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, what do y'all think about what Trump is doing? I mean, it looks like he's just saying, I'm not going to do anything good unless y'all are willing to do something.
Of recent, say, modern era presidents, Trump, and I'm not just saying this because everybody says it, it does remind me of Reagan. Reagan, to his credit, didn't get into any big wars, but he was willing to drop a bomb on your head if you pissed him off. But he was not all. It was more the George H.W. Bush crowd and Bill Kristol and Cheney and all those types that really wanted to use those weapons that were built up under Reagan.
Well, it kind of begs the question too, because we always fund both sides of any war we're fighting. Just about.
Yeah.
Do we have bad actors on that side of the ball that are making sure that we are drawn into the war so that the industrial military complex can get money and spend money? I think that we do. I think that we have, people that undermine any kind of sense of success that we might have in a diplomatic way instead of going to war. So y'all tell me what you think about that. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I find Trump's trying to pave his own way. Like if you look at the aftermath of this last 2 weeks, people like Mark Levin, the Constitution of the United States. He's not happy. Lindsey Graham is not happy. He's like, I love women, but I love war too. And so the neocons really aren't happy. I think some of the hardcore America First that lean into the anti-war libertarians are not necessarily happy. I've got a clip here of Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene talking more about that position. Yeah. I think Trump's trying to carve his own way, and it might very well be he has a long-term plan, but a lot of this is iterative. It's very much give and take. Let me do this, what they call shuttle diplomacy on the phone, and see this thing through. I think Trump's instinct, though, is in the same way Europe needs to carry its own weight. The Middle East, this little block he's trying to smash together, needs to also carry their own weight as a counterbalance against Iran. We'll see.
I just think that I just believe that there are. I don't doubt anybody's people's sincerity. Some I do, but I believe they come from a point of sincere belief sometimes.
Sure.
But they get Marjorie Taylor Greene, for instance. Is she saying that on her own, or is she saying that because somebody that's a big donor kind of leaned into her to talk like that or act like that? Same way with Lindsey Graham. Yeah, they are believers, okay, but there's pressure by people that fund them, their campaigns, and their whatever you call them, the little foundations that they have, which is where the real money is. That, look, if you don't get on board with this, then I'm not going to give to your foundation. I just believe some of that kind of stuff goes on.
Oh, sure. A lot of it. Anyway, or we'll attack you in the primary.
I think the way that you see that the easiest isn't in the case of someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who literally, same with Thomas Massie, where they are completely unique in their messaging. Where you see that most clearly is like you've seen the past week, when literally every single one in Congress, like a robotic drone, says verbatim the same thing. So they got their briefing. Mm-hmm. And it's nauseating to see.
And then look at our two senators. I think there are slight differences between the two. I think Katie is much more in the full-throated support of Israel, these sorts of things. I think she's friends with Lindsey. Whereas Tuberville, I think, is not as cozy with that idea. But both of them played the same game. A lot of senators and other representatives played, we love Trump. Trump will make the decision. We got to trust Trump. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a safe position. Not just because that's safe politically, it certainly is, but because honestly, the way this guy is making decisions, it does end up being his final. He sets himself up to be the final person to make the change that changes the chessboard.
That's right.
And for better or for worse. I mean, sometimes it blows up in his face.
Yeah.
I think you're right. There are a lot of, this is a new day and age where the conversations in particular about how the United States should have a relationship with Israel, that's completely different. You probably know this. How long you been listening to talk radio? How different is that conversation today than it was 10 years ago? It's certainly 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, changed incredibly. You're right. Well, the insight and the understanding of some of what really goes on has just been, very illuminating. I would have sworn up and down that every Republican was a good thing, good person and trusted years ago. And now I know that just ain't the case.
Wait, hold on real quick, Papa B. Craig, have you been eating a lollipop this whole segment? I just noticed.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And it's cotton candy, so it means that it's pink.
You're a grown man eating a cotton candy lollipop. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it,
well,
Papa
thanks
B.
for letting me call in. Sure. All right,
Thanks, Papa B. Yeah, Joey, when I was a kid and I imagined being an adult, this is what I imagined it being like.
Really?
And it rules.
You're a candy guy. Seriously.
Well, I'm trying a new thing with my whole diet. I'm trying the sugar diet.
The sugar diet.
Yeah, Mark Bell's been talking about it.
Explain this to me. We got a few minutes here.
No, okay. So there's enzymatic responses in your body that cause your metabolism and your energy production to slow down when you eat things like proteins and fats, even though it's obviously necessary for the amino acids for muscle structure building. So the goal of the sugar diet is to do what's called a sugar fast, where you only eat sugar, no fats, no protein. Obviously, there's going to be like protein in fruits, like trace proteins, but same with fats as well, things like bananas, avocados and stuff. But so you build up, and then at the end of the day or after your sugar fast, whether that's 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, whatever, then you introduce protein and starchy carbs in order to sort of, again, give you the amino acids you need, but also sort of slow that process, stop that process. And it's a stop, go situation. So Mark Bell, who funnily enough, he's the one who really started the carnivore craze. He's the one who's going and talking about the sugar diet. So I'm trying it on my refeed days, and I've been pleasantly surprised. The fat loss is still happening.
Since we're on this, why is it when I look in the mirror after I eat like some cookies or a big bowl of pasta, like the next morning, I'm like, I feel like I look freaking buff. Yeah. And then is that like an effect of what I'm eating?
That's just your what's called glycogen supercompensation. So the glycogen gets shot into your muscles. That's why, like, when these guys get on stage, bodybuilders get on stage, they diet, they eat, next to nothing to get super shredded. Then the 2 or 3 days before the show, they slam a ungodly amount of carbohydrates in food because it fills everything up, and that's when they really pop.
Right.
Because otherwise you look really what's called flat. So it's essentially like your muscles are a balloon. When you eat carbs, it blows up the balloon, and when you use the carbs in the muscles for energy, it shrinks the balloon. So the reason why you look bigger and feel more jacked is because you do look bigger and look more jacked.
Well, yeah, no, and it's like it's balance. Like I have noticed when I do like a true deficit and I'm eating a lot of grilled chicken, I'm like, I do look like, what am I even doing this for?
Exactly. Well, that's the hardest part about a diet is the beginning phase, because you look like you're getting fatter and you're getting weaker and you look worse. And you're just like, but you are losing it. But while the fat's going away, your muscles are shrinking, not the actual tissue, but just the general size and volume of them is.
Right.
So that's why you always got to do the push-pull. That's why a refeed day is for. So you do deficit for 4, 5, 6, 7 days, whatever. And then you have 1 day where you add in additional carbs. And so you fill those glycogen stores back up. You get a little additional strength, additional energy, and you look incredible. I do this every week. And the day of, like this morning, after I had like a bunch of, I had like half a watermelon with some honey, and then like a bag of Sour Patch Kids.
Well, you put the honey right on the watermelon?
Oh, dude, it's good. You got to try it. You got to try it.
That sounds awesome.
Put a little table sugar on there too, or maple syrup on watermelon is also rules.
I've been going through a phase where if I don't eat sugar, I don't crave it, but I have been eating sugar. And we always get my grandfather likes the chunky Chips Ahoy, and it's mostly for him to snack on every once in a while. And I've just been on this like midnight snack kick where I'm like, I keep eating all these Chips Ahoy, but I'm not putting on weight. I don't know. Maybe I'm modulating it correctly.
Yeah. If you keep it fairly moderate, and you're not overeating all the time.
But I go to like the cookies, I go to the crumble, I don't ever go to the gummy bears.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm on the gummy. I do like candy. I like to mix it up. Like if I have some cookies, the next thing I'll crave will be like some Skittles. And then when I have Skittles, the next thing I crave will be like a brownie. So I flip flop.
I haven't had Skittles or Starburst or Nerds, anything like that in ages.
I'll tell you, the best thing to do is go get you a slushie, pour some Nerds in that slushie. Ooh, that's a good way to go.
That does sound good.
I've been trying to justify buying a slushie machine to my wife, but they're like $350.
But it's hard to beat like a milkshake with just like peanut butter in there.
Oh, like a chocolate peanut butter milkshake.
Yeah.
Throw some banana in there too.
Yeah. And a little honey to like just add the
whipped cream on top. Ooh,
yeah. Yeah, and then I keep seeing this scene from Inglourious Bastards where he's like, "Wait for the creme."
Das Strudel.
Yeah, and
Das Strudel.
Tarantino's got this thing where you like see her cutting and putting the cream on. And you're like, "I'm hungry now."
No, I'm not kidding. The last time I watched that movie, the first thing I did is I went to the Piggly Wiggly and bought some toaster strudel and a thing of whipped cream, and it was just as good as I thought it would be.
We mirror back things, folks. We monkey see, monkey do. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting, and their River Region Contracting. Todd Clark and the team are ready to help you with that roof of yours. You should get it inspected on a regular basis, at least every 3 to 5 years. But with Alabama weather, especially some of these summer storms have been violent.
Yes, they have.
Have you been hearing rumbles in the middle of the night and you're a little worried about that something start to break up there on the rooftop? Call up River Region Contracting. At least do it annually. Because, well, their inspections are always free. And if they do find an issue, they'll write up an estimate for free. It's always accurate. They show up on time. They do the job well. And if you're worried about working with that insurance company, making that insurance claim, they're insurance specialists at River Region Contracting. They can walk you through that entire process, make it swift and easy. And, of course, they're just great folks. Great sponsor of the program. Use them. That's River Region Contracting, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd and the team there that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hey, it's Ashley, the owner of Pest Pro Services. And just a quick reminder about our most popular services, termite, pest, and mosquito control. And here's something you may not know. Our mosquito control now covers fleas and ticks too. Building a home, call us for your termite treatment. Selling a home, call us for your real estate inspection. Whether it's your home or business, we'll keep you protected. Call or text 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or visit us on the web at ppsriverregion.com. And remember, when you want to know, call a pro.
Come to Epicure and Jack's Tavern, where every lunch is made with love. For only $9.99, seniors can relish their Meat and 3 special lunch combo, including a drink and bread. Regular sizes are available for just $13.99. Every dish at Epicure and Jack's Tavern is made from scratch daily. No shortcuts, just delicious, hearty meals. So why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary? Visit Epicure and Jack's Tavern today.
Are you thinking about selling your home? Here's a question for you. Would you trust your biggest investment to someone who's only doing real estate as a side gig? They've got another job, so how focused are they on getting you the best results? I'm Hannah Grantham, and for us at Forest Meadows Homes and Land, real estate is our full-time and only job.
That's right. You don't have a part-time banker, so why would you have a part-time realtor?
So if you're thinking of selling, think Hannah Grantham and Eddie Bader, and let's make sure your home gets the attention it deserves.
We're full-time agents getting full-time results. Give us a call today, 334-322-0662.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life.
Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better Business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Ernest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Ernest, 334-279-7431. Ernest Financial, LLC.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Not much change in our overall weather situation. Temperatures perhaps not quite as extreme, but hot enough. A good bit of sunshine today with a high in the low to mid 90s, triple-digit heat indices again. And then today, tomorrow, Sunday, and through midweek, scattered, random, mostly afternoon and evening storms. And in this kind of heat, some of these storms can really put on a show. Don't forget, if you're close enough to hear thunder, even distant thunder, you're close enough to be struck and killed. Take it easy, stay hydrated. From the AMS Weather Conference in Boise, Rich Thomas for Blue Water Broadcasting.
Hey, this is Jody Pangle with Peaches and Clean. Have you gone with luxury vinyl tile and luxury vinyl planking in your home? Peaches and Clean cleans luxury vinyl tile and planking. Give us a call. We'd love to come look at it and get you an estimate or quote for your cleaning. Check us out at peachesandclean.com.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1. WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. Love having Ashley and the team there as a great sponsor. And I love this new model. I don't know if you've heard about this, Craig, where they do it a monthly subscription now.
Who does?
Pest Pro Services.
Oh, wow.
So it's a monthly subscription to where there's no like unexpected, they came and did a thing and now you don't know what the bill's going to be. It's like, no, you just get on their plan. They start with a basic plan like pest control protection. Then you can add to that termite inspection and protection. And then you can add on top of that things like flea tick or mosquitoes. And so it's like, you have a normal water bill. You have a normal power bill. Like you have a normal overhead utility costs. You just add in your pest control in the same predictable way. And that way you build a relationship with these folks too. They're local folks, easy to work with. And in particular, we're in the middle of mosquito season. I have been annoyed many a time where you're trying to sit outside, smoke a cigar, solve the world's problems in a much more colorful way than we even do here on air. And then all of a sudden I lose my point because the mosquito went after that sweet meat right on my ankle. I'm like, I got to go inside now. I got all these welts on me. Like, you don't have to live that way. You don't have to live that way.
It's no way to live, Joey.
Pest Pro Services can help you take care of that. So y'all get on that subscription model. That's Pest Pro Services. You can always learn more about them at ppsriverregion.com or search for Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces or just call them direct 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey, the Phil on the radio, sent you. Trump just did this press conference and he's taking a victory lap after this. This is a big deal.
Yeah, really big.
The Supreme Court ruling is a massive deal.
I mean, there was a lot of good rulings, but the judicial one, that is humongous.
Yeah, essentially telling all the lower courts, rein it in. And this, I think, means if a lower court tries to do this again, immediately the Supreme Court's going to smack them. There's not going to be any time.
Well, that's what I'm curious is because, now you have, it's not a conflict between the executive and the judiciary. There could be a conflict between the judiciary, which that's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out.
And then you see like the nerd fights between Amy Coney Barrett and Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah,
where I think Justice Jackson said something like, "This will be the demise of us all." That was the actual language used in her dissenting opinion. This will be the demise of us all if you neuter the judiciary. And I think Justice Barrett's comeback was, well, as much as we don't need an imperial executive, we also don't need an imperial judiciary that won't be good for us. And yet Justice Jackson seems to miss that point. And then, of course, I love, and all the justices do this on whatever ideology, Kagan really hated the nationwide injunctions during the Biden years.
Oh, yeah.
She's kind of found a way. It's very sophisticated and eloquent, and, you know, these folks are very smart people on the court, to where she kind of likes them now. It's always interesting to see how they, especially the smart legal nerds, can twist themselves. But Trump, being Trump, doesn't stick to one topic. He just can never stick to one topic. And he went on to a topic that, well, I am always talking about, always tracking. We are in the era of institutional adoption, folks. Let's listen in.
In the next few months?
Well, it's a very funny thing, crypto. So I became a fan of crypto, and to me, it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term. I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent. And I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces. And I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar. And it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. You know, I have I have kids, and they invest in different things. They do believe in it. But I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And, you know, if we didn't have it, China would. Okay.
And I just love seeing this guy come around on that particular issue. It really is. It's whether it's government or it's like all these corporations and major banks or new rulings being put out. Like, this is the era of institutional adoption. And to use just an analogy, because you can try to get into the weeds and people go, oh, what are you even talking about? You know how music went from vinyl to tape to CDs to then the piracy era? Were you into that, like Napster or
LimeWire is what I used.
I used LimeWire, and I used what's the name? Kazaa. I remember Kazaa was one of those. Kazaa. Yeah, and so that whole era, and then finally we've gotten around where it's streaming. But the book industry, like, I mean, there's still a book's a million in East Chase, and you'll find boutique shops, like I guess New South is still down there downtown. Yeah, but most books are immediately digital, and in particular old books. You can find so much online. So the transformation of music, the transformation of, say, information in general, but especially books, what you're about to see is the digital transformation of finance and money. And folks think, you know, how much was it worth to see the digital transformation of books? How much was it worth to the economy to see music change, go down the line? How much is it worth to digitally transform money? Well, money is half of everything that we do in the economy. It's in every transaction. So I think it's a pretty big effing deal.
And it's completely immune from inflation. That's right. It's so good about it. And it's one of the few things that, like, typically when you hear someone, a Donald Trump or anyone in politics, say, I'm interested in this thing, I'm like, no, stay out of it. You're going to ruin it. Get away, right. get away. But this is like, no, you can't ruin it. It's, you know why? Because it's a product of the market.
Well, yeah, the last big uncertainty for me was, what is the government going to do?
Exactly.
And I think this will also be, you know, how all these big movie studios, all the big music studios, all the big publishing houses, they ain't what they used to be. All the big banks. This is why there was pushback during Biden and during first Trump. All the big banks are realizing, oh, we better adopt this new technology or we're going to go the way of all these old institutions as it goes to the digital world. Some will survive, but you better believe a lot are very nervous about what's coming. And just the amount of money everyday people will be able to save, small business owners will be able to save, the amount of people that will now be able to invest and work in dollars across the world because of these changes. It's it's a remarkable moment to see happening. And it's like Trump is hitting the perfect time, whether he screws it up or he's victorious or not. It does seem like everything that was decided upon 20, 30, 40 years ago is now being upended, and we got to make new decisions. And he gets to be the guy who's the point person in the room on all this stuff, and he relishes it. Just from a personality read, doesn't he seem like he's like having fun, or like he just seems in his element? Like,
oh, he's definitely having fun.
Well, even in the middle of all this war stuff, he seemed way too confident. I'm like, what is going on here? Dropping F-bombs on national TV. What the heck is this?
That was crazy.
I
couldn't believe he said that.
I loved it.
I loved it too.
It was a great American moment. They don't know what the F they're doing.
It was the first honest statement of an American president on the Israeli relationship with Iran and other nations in the history of mankind.
Though some people were sharing it was Reagan. Like, it wasn't a press conference, but Reagan did something in writing that essentially threatened the Israelis. I can't remember what the controversy necessarily was over. But there are a few moments, and like you go real old school, what Eisenhower right after the war breaks with him to a degree. But yeah. Anyway, this part of the program brought to you by, in fact, the entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim and Madeline. They're ready to help you out, whether you're looking to buy a home. Could be the right time for you. Don't look at the national headlines in the economy. Think about your own economy, your own situation, and they can help you think that through there at Alabama Home Mortgage. And maybe you're just thinking about it. At least get pre-approved to see how much home you can afford, and they'll walk you through that entire home buying process, pre-approval all the way to closing day. And of course, they can also help you with a great refinance deal to get debt off your back, especially credit card debt, or lower monthly costs as you get close to retirement. Maybe you're already in retirement, want to reduce those monthly overhead costs. Or it could be, hey, you want to go on a big vacation. You want to reinvest to add a new wing to the house. I mean, it all depends on you and what you want to accomplish. And they can help you guide you through that and meet those goals. That number for Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies like Kim and Madeline. Prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this? Hello?
I don't. Oh my gosh!
Hi. How are you?
Hello?
How are you, TS?
How'd you know it was me?
I recognize your voice.
Okay. All right. I want to apologize because I haven't listened to the first hour and 45 minutes because I was helping neighbors.
Okay.
And doing the right thing. I wanted to make sure that Craig was better 2 weeks after I accosted him in the parking lot.
Yes, I'm doing far better. Thank you. The restraining order is still being deliberated by the authorities, by the way. So, come
well,
and get some while you can.
They can't find me. I have too many homes. They just don't know where I am. Okay. I was just being like Trump and kind of changing the subject without permission because that's what we do.
Yeah, it's Friday. Who cares?
I know. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Appreciate it, TS. 272-9228.
I love how she's like, how'd you know it was me? Who else would it be?
Right. We know your voice, lady. Just seeing what else Trump maybe got into in the middle of all this. Oh, here's a moment. I'm sure this is a classic, oh, you're flattering me moment. Oh, wow. You asked a question that is framed in a way that's generous to me. I love you. I absolutely love you. So I guess this, again, was the victory lap press conference after the big Supreme Court ruling, but Trump was taking all sorts of questions.
A leading global economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked because I've been going through abuse for years on this. Because as you know, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, no inflation whatsoever.
But Mr. President, what is your message to critics who think your tariff plan will cause a recession?
I think they should go back to business school. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars from China and a lot of other countries.
So, yeah, he does seem happy in the moment.
And he might be right. Again, I've always said I still maintain with the tariffs. I have no idea about tariffs or the history of them or their effectiveness. So
Yeah,
we'll see. Honestly, forget tariffs, if we can just get a foreign policy where we stop sending stuff out of this country,
would be great.
Any potential damage that could be done from tariffs would be offset by a lot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't appear as though the tariffs are doing damage. So give Trump credit whenever he's right.
Well, you have Witkoff signaling big announcement coming in the Middle East. And then if you get Russia, Ukraine wrapped up, that's a pretty big deal.
If Israel does not, I assume Israel will try some sort of escalation in the coming months within the year. If Trump can find a way to keep us for the rest of his presidency out of anything like what we saw last week, and if he ends Ukraine and Russia, then I will forgive him for the past week and think that he did a pretty decent job. But again, now his deportation stuff, he's talking about giving amnesty to hotel and farm workers. And it's like, this is sort of the conversation that I think is really interesting with AI. And I think it touches with illegal immigration. What do you do with your morons?
Yeah.
What do you do with your idiots? People that are perfectly fine, lovely, want to work, but they can't code. They're not gonna. They don't have the capability to do anything other than manual labor, which requires an intelligence in and of itself. But I don't like the idea of outsourcing the destruction of the upper, lower, and lower middle class is the direct result of our immigration policies, and him offering amnesty is just shocking to me.
Oh, and also on the AI front, David Sachs, AI czar, is saying big announcements coming as well. So right around the 4th of July, it looks like a lot of big announcements on trade, on AI, on the Middle East. Like we keep saying, we'll see.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Here at Adams Drugs, we let our customers do the talking. I'm here with Ronnie Taunton, who was a longtime customer of Adams Drugs, moved away for 3 years, and came back to town recently. Ronnie, what did you do for another pharmacy when you moved out of town?
When we moved to Fairhope, we were looking for a local. We did not want to go to a big box store. And we did find one, but the service was not up to par. Adams Drug really spoiled us.
What was it like to come back to Adams Drugs again?
It was very easy. We picked up the phone when we got back, came up to Prattville and called the branch there in Prattville, and they took that phone call and did the rest of it. We didn't have to do a thing. It was very simple. We're glad to be back with them. They're so efficient and customer service oriented.
Come in to any of our 12 Adams Drugs locations. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net to find the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hi, I'm Jane Ray, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Radio is an active medium. It can create immediacy, driving shoppers to a specific store, brand, or to take a specific action. Radio ads engage with the audience in a personal and unique way. Contact me, Jane Ray, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
We've all been fooled by the big box stores, especially when it comes to flooring. They'll get you in with the low prices up front, then hit you with the extra fees, sketchy installs, and surprise charges. But lucky for you, you can enjoy the low prices you want with all the amenities of a locally owned and trusted business during Prattville Carpet's summer sale. Choose tile, luxury vinyl plank, and carpet for your whole home for just $1.39 a square foot. No games, just value.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. go right to the phones. Talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, just getting through this Friday. We're killing time, seeing what's up in the news, and looks like it's a very good day, very happy day for Mr. Trump.
What happened?
Supreme Court, big old ruling against, say, national, nationwide, or universal injunctions from lower courts. So it frees
It
him
looks
up.
like they kind of chastised one of their own.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Some judge on judge violence there.
You ain't kidding. That seems a little brutal.
But what's the score there today at Cohen's?
35 to nothing. We had some TVs that we had on order for some customers, and they came in. We got those people scheduled, and Michael Jackson was running this morning as soon as he got in. He got one customer on the way to work, and then when he got here, he went out and did one. He's already done the second one. Now he's headed to Auburn to do the third one. So his day is probably done, especially with it being in Auburn. But it's been a good day, and we're getting the customers taken care of, and all of the customers are grateful that we're getting the stuff there before we thought we were going to get it there. So it's all good.
Well, I love hearing that. And folks, y'all can do the price matching, right? You're not going to be beat on price. But y'all have the great products, whether TVs and the whole electronic side or the appliance side. But it really is the service that makes the difference. It's how they put points on the board there at Cohen's. Let them do that for you. You can always go to thinkcohens.com or just stop by. In fact, I think it's better to stop by. 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery, open to 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael, or if you can't find him, find one of the other great team members. But find Michael and say, hey, I heard you on that radio show with that Joey fella.
That's right. Yeah. Y'all come see us. Bring us some pictures of whatever area, room that you're trying to make some upgrades in. Let us ask you some questions. You ask us some questions, and let us help you make the right choice, because there's a ton of choices out there, and there's a lot of things that look almost the same, but, they have some subtle differences that make it work better in your room or the next room. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. So y'all come see us and have a great weekend.
Appreciate it, Michael, as always. You too. Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. So one more hour left. Is it irresponsible of me to just say I'm killing time this Friday?
No, not at all. I think we should just go through clips and just react. We should be those guys.
Well, I do that often.
Yeah, but that's what we should do for the rest of the show. It's easy peasy.
Well, there's one here. It's not much of a clip. It's just some dudes, like young dudes in Queens, caught on video abducting a large swan. Like
that is a huge swan.
That is a massive swan. Let's pull this up on the screen here.
Either that or a very small man.
Let me scrub it back. Okay. Coming forward here. Yeah, my God, he's got that swan like held together. Hold on. Let's listen into this.
Outrage over the abduction of one of Mother Nature's most magnificent creatures, a swan. The suspect was caught running down the street with the giant swan tucked under his arm. Then he stuffs the bird into the back seat of the getaway car with his buddies. The four knuckleheads are cracking up as they take off.
It was a little brutal. You can tell they had experience holding these birds.
Oh, how? Wait, they had experience holding the bird?
Wow, there's always some dumb broad to just ruin everything with their stupid takes.
Was that a Prius or just like a small?
It was like a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, it's a Toyota Corolla.
Like pre-2015.
Man, like what a weird thing to do. I guess young guys get into all sorts of stupid
do
pranks.
with it. I mean,
That's a good question.
I would cook it. Have you ever had goose? It's delicious.
I've never had swan.
Or swan, excuse me.
Never had swan.
It's pretty. It's the same genus. So
Officially, I've never had swan.
Stephanie Santiago witnessed the swan napping.
One of them was actually looking out the window with a stupid smile on his face. And I told him, I was like, you're going to see me. Remember me, because you're going to see me again. And when you see me, you won't be smiling.
Swans are known for being territorial and making loud noises, if a human gets too close. But the snatched swan is a species known as a mute swan. These swans are even quieter, so she didn't make a lot of noise when she was taken. To make this all the more upsetting, the swan had just given birth, and her lifelong mate has been calling out in distress, desperate for his long-lost love. Stephanie shared her video.
This reporter, I want to beat to death with like a mag light.
Calm down. Why?
Dude, it's like the whole thing, these knuckleheads, it's like, it's so upsetting. No, it's not.
Yeah, but it's lifelong mate. And given they're mute swans, they tend to stay married longer.
Yeah, I mean, there's this whole thing of like having more value for animals that mate for life is it's such a stupid metric. It's such a dumb metric. It's like like literally these are the same people that are going to go at some point in the near future and eat a bird. Like they are going to eat some fashion form of bird, and that's all a swan is. He didn't. But whose swan is it? If it's just a wild swan, then it's anyone's game.
I don't know, but looking at that woman that's on our screen, it could be she's vegan, eats a lot of paneer.
Well, no, Skittles are vegan by looking at her. But but it's the thing. Some nosy lady's just like, I'm going to call the news and tell these people, but they abducted. You can't abduct a swan unless it's somebody else's swan.
Maybe it's a people swan.
I hope they ate the swan. I really hope that.
You want people to this is what Trump was talking about. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the swans, Greg.
If I saw a duck just sort of sitting around, I would take that duck and eat it.
And on that note, we have another hour.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Trump administration winning a major legal victory today at the Supreme Court. Justices ruling that individual judges lack the authority to grant nationwide injunctions that effectively block presidential executive orders. It's a big win for Donald Trump, whose agenda has faced a number of roadblocks from district judges. Supreme Court also ruling that parents in Maryland who have religious objections can pull their children from public school lessons that use the LGBT storybooks. Justices reversed lower court rulings in favor of the Montgomery County school system in suburban Washington. Court also upholding a Texas law aimed at blocking kids from seeing pornography online. Dozen states have passed similar legislation. With cell phones, they say it's a lot easier now for the kids to see the porn. This is SRN News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454.
Rich Thomas Weather brought to you by Clark Heating, Air and Plumbing.
Hey, this is Robbie Clark. Stay cool with a tune-up with Clark Heating, Air and Plumbing. Don't wait. Schedule today. Give us a call at 334-277-2125. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are radar watching because the potential for some locally strong thunderstorms will continue well into the evening hours tonight. Generally, they fade out overnight, but still very humid overnight, low temperature in the mid-70s. Not much change tomorrow, and Sunday, and Monday, and Tuesday, and probably into midweek, with highs in the low to mid-90s and triple-digit heat indices and more spotty, random afternoon and evening storms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We're redesigning financial freedom at CB&S Bank. Make purchases at participating stores and restaurants using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile devices with Mobile Wallet. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for more information. Member FDIC.
1819 News.
A new state law is officially underway and being implemented for the upcoming school year. SB 4 was passed earlier this year by the state legislature and allows for private and charter schools to hire school resource officers. The schools can now partner with local law enforcement agencies in order to hire a full-time officer rather than resort to hiring off-duty officers to work at the school. The law enforcement agencies must provide the full coverage of resource officers to public schools first in their district before they partner with a private institution. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Some of the greatest blessings is just having the people that care about you, to have someone that's just going to love you and make you feel important. They encourage you to be in church. They encourage you to be in prayer. They encourage you to be in your Bible. Now it's a part of my day every day. My house parents planted seeds in me that you can see where those seeds have sprouted in my life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
The Alabama Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission had a meeting this past Thursday. In that meeting, the officers announced the intention of revoking certification to the Walker County Sheriff and his chief deputy. Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith was indicted for 6 misdemeanors at the start of June for violating the standards applied in hiring law enforcement officers. Deputy Williams was also indicted for misleading information. State law requires that law enforcement officers be certified by the APO-STC. Escambia County Sheriff Heath Jackson was just established as the Sergeant-at-Arms for the National Sheriff's Association. What this means is that Jackson will become the NSA president 3 years from now. As part of the officer rotation, Jackson was also awarded the Sheriff of the Year Award for 2025 by the Alabama Sheriff's Association. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Final hour of the show here on a Friday. And we didn't finish up with this Swan video yet, Craig.
I want to talk about nothing else but the Swan.
Yeah, it's just that, like, we can get real serious, but I just want to react to these dopes. Like, some days I wish all I had to care about was somebody stealing my Swan. I don't even own Swans.
And when you see me, you won't be smiling.
Swans are known for being territorial and making loud noises if
Yeah,
a
they're
human
mean.
gets too close. But the snatched swan is a species known as a mute swan. These swans
That's
are even
alliteration.
quieter, so she didn't make a lot of noise when she was taken. To make this all the more upsetting, the swan had just given birth, and her lifelong mate has been calling out in distress, desperate.
I thought they were...
speak Swan?
I thought they were mute!
How do you know? He's calling out for his mate. Maybe he's like, thank God that nagging broad is gone. Ugh, God, all she would talk about is how the other swan's feathers were so much nicer than mine. He may be saying good riddance, Harpy. Quack, 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 bye, quack.
I always knew you preferred Black Swan.
For his long-lost love. Stephanie shared her video of the theft, and the Howard Beach community in Queens, New York, leapt into action.
The community was enraged.
Yeah.
These birds are a fixture in our community. They have families.
By the way, that's the voice of a man named PJ.
They have babies. They reproduce.
A resident spotted the suspects
they
and called cops.
They have apprehended the vehicle that was used and involved with the swan abduction, and the vehicle with the occupants unfortunately have no swan with them.
We've seen swan nappings before. In 2021, this guy was charged with grand theft for stealing baby swans from their parents in Orlando. Watch as he pushes the parents out of the way to put the little ones in a red cooler.
They won't be here tomorrow.
So, what happened to the abducted swan from Queens? Unfortunately, it's a mystery.
We don't know if we'll ever see that bird again.
Police are investigating if the swan was stolen as part of a senior prank or to be put in someone's private pond.
Okay, I'm sorry. These dumb news whores, like
this is, by the way, Inside Edition.
It was like they'll be talking about the baby was found without a head, buried under a mobile home on this road, and they'll have a smile on their face. But the swan abduction, and God, just the visible sadness. But again, how can you be charged with grand theft? It's a wild animal. Who owns the swans?
It might be a public park.
It might. Well, does that mean that if I take a leaf, is that grand theft? Can I take a twig?
Yeah, but I mean, the leaf doesn't go. Like, I mean, the swan is like an animal's worth more than a leaf.
Yeah.
Like if you took the whole tree, like if you took a swan feather, that's not that big of a deal. You can take a leaf, you can take a feather.
But is everything in the park belong to the? I mean, so
it belongs to us.
It belongs to us. Well, us likes deep fried goose.
By us, we mean the government.
No, okay. I thought you meant the collective us. I thought you were Marxy there for a second.
Yeah, we'll get to some.
I want to see what the callers have to say about this swan.
Let's go to Cameron. Hey, Cameron, what do you think about this swan napping?
Well, the universe missed an opportunity for a hilarious video. If you Google it, a swan can break a man's leg with its wing. Same with a turkey. Little known fact.
Well, how big is the swan or turkey need to be, and how small the man?
Well, I had a swan in Missouri, and I had to pretty much save my legs by swinging a grocery bag full of groceries at him. It hurt. It really hurt.
They're aggressive little buggers.
Well, I have a memory of the black swans over there at the Shakespeare, like near the Museum of Fine Art, chasing me one day when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been a terror.
Yeah, it's fine. They're stupid birds.
May I comment on the current global situation that Trump's dealing with?
Quickly.
My wife and I teach young children, and we both talk about the fact that if we give them a concept, it helps them learn.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the belligerents that are sitting at the table that Trump's sitting at right now, representing our nation. You've got the terrorists, you've got ISIS, you've got Hamas, you've got the groups down in Mexico, you've got Iran, you've got China, you've got Korea. I think Trump is keeping a stone face, holding all the cards, and every one of them is trying to figure out how to slip one past. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, let's just hope that, people don't all play the same card at once.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's a dangerous game. I wish we weren't here, but we didn't start it. Well, no, I know the history. We're not clean hands.
No, you're right.
But
We didn't start the fire. It's always burning since the world's been turning.
Thank you, sir, for letting me talk.
Thank
I
you,
love to. Bye.
Let's I think this is Emmett. Before you go on, Emmett, what do you think of the whole swan napping?
Well, we got a falcon that goes with me and the boys all across the state because we're running from DHR, and I don't think that we always have the falcon with us when we go sleep in the parks. That's what I think about it. But somebody said to call because, me and the boys do odd jobs and we build stuff to live. And when we run from, Minsk that we're at the Department of Horrendous Retribution, we used to live behind Scott Beeson until he moved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we made an invention and somebody said, we got a surefire sale if we call your program. Are you ready for the acronym of what it is?
Okay.
Chairs Renovated Armoring Inventor Grinder Sharpeners Arranged Verifiably Everlastingly Restricting Sliding. Craig Savers.
Craig's just sucking on a lollipop.
I'm confused. Was that like a question?
No, it wasn't a question. It was a device. It keeps your chair from sliding, Craig.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just a little bit of PTSD there. I got that. I completely missed that, and that's my fault.
Me and the boys made it. It's guaranteed to never ever slide, no matter where you're sitting when you cut.
I look forward to testing this out.
Thanks a lot. Y'all have a great day and a great weekend.
Ditto.
Say hi to the Falcon for me, Emmett.
I just thought about this. I haven't seen that. What was that old movie, The Swan Princess? When I was a kid, I used to love that. I need to rewatch it.
What is that movie?
It's a cartoon about this princess that turns into a swan, and like one of her friends is a puffin inexplicably, and it's hilarious. I remember it being funny. So I
now
need
is
to
she
rewatch it.
turned into a swan by some like evil witch?
Yeah,
or
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, I was wondering.
I think it was a sorcerer. Come to think of it, or either it's a witch or it's either a male or a female.
Yeah, but did she have it coming? Is it one of those things like you're a snotty little brat, and so you need to be turned into a swan?
Well, I mean, you can get very Bolshevik revolution about it if you want. She's very czarist. In fact, I actually think it takes place in like some Russian czarist castle, if memory serves me correctly. I need to look it back up again, but
it is weird when you have those flashbacks of childhood memories of like old cartoon movies in particular, where you're like, "What was that?"
And then you watch it as an adult and you realize all the sexual innuendo you missed.
Yeah, that's some creepy stuff.
Yeah, it is pretty creepy.
Yeah, at least like Ren and Stimpy was in your face about it. Powdered Toast Man.
Anyway, see
Anyway,
where I can find the Swan Princess.
let's go to line 4. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Sam calling from 231.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, can you hear me fine?
Yeah.
I got you on car Bluetooth. I haven't used this thing very much. I'm nervous about whether it works well. No, brother, some of the swans. I remember years ago seeing something on the History Channel about the royal swan. There's actually some guy in charge of the queen swans, and there's some special little pond, and they walk the swans and all that kind of stuff. But they didn't say if they actually butcher them up and eat them. I figure they do. You know, there's a little Haitian in all of us. That's the first thing I thought when I heard that about stealing the swans. But
This is why you're just no good. That's why that's why all the prim and proper people just think you're up to no good. You immediately go to Haitian.
That's right. Well, no, I'm cramming it all together. Joey, I went by yesterday to the local pot shop in Troy.
Yeah.
One of those that get rated, and I spoke to Miss Abigail. She owns several shops, nice upper end shops, Ozark, Enterprise, Troy area.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me about that. It wasn't a total raid. They some of the ones that were doing more business than other ones. She told me that I got it written down. The little agency, anyway, a bunch of cops, a bunch of basically dirty cops went in there to all the stores, raided it, got their money, got their flour, and their excuse was, here you go. They were accused of selling dope, so they're going to take their flour and have it tested. Well, here in a few days, the date was moved up January 1st to July 1st that they can't have it anymore. So, there was a bunch of outlaw badges. They had them a nice little run, got them some money, and then rounded up some stuff, and they know it'll be confiscated. They'll never get the business owners will never get it back. So it's just
So was it marijuana or was it just hemp flour?
No. It's illegal stuff. It's hemp. That's what they're selling. I'll tell you firsthand, it ain't marijuana. It's hemp.
Okay.
And it's powerful and it's good. And like I said, it keeps me from puking my guts up every morning. But there's a difference. And the state has decided that Well, some of the competition had to go. Not all. Oh, there's another thing. Like I said, the lady owns those shops that I was talking to. Not all of her businesses got rated. Okay. And yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna call around, see who's got, anybody still got some flour, but yeah, it just heavy-handed, man. Very heavy-handed.
Well,
that's the whole.
I got a question. I mean, so what are the options for folks like you? I mean, do you just go to straight up pot, or what are you going to do?
Well, man, that means, okay. With what I don't need legal troubles. Okay.
Dude, nobody cares enough to get you in legal trouble, but fine. I'm just saying, what would someone, what if like people that you talk to, what if they say the solution is?
That's it. All right. So yeah, there's lots of legal pot, or illegal. There's lots of illegal stuff around, and I can go down that Dothan and get hooked right back up, but I don't want to.
You mean your friend? You screwed up. You screwed up your own defensive mechanism. You said you, and you mean your friend. We're talking about a friend here.
No, I'll be honest. I'm not me. In my stuff.
I give up.
Okay. Anyway, that's the base, man. All right. The vapes are all on sale, so I'm not a big vape fan.
Well, wait, wasn't it in Dothan we went to that Libertarian Party convention, like
where we were both sexually harassed by a presidential candidate?
Oh, we were?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
I do now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was awful.
It was rough. It was rough.
And then also like Afro Man was there as the main highlight act.
And I bought him a pack of Swishers.
Yeah, we were leaving to go to the gas station. He was pulling up, and then we had to go to his hotel room. They were already, it smelled like spring in there.
Yeah, that's a story I've told 80 people, and 80 people don't believe me.
It's true. I was there.
Hey, Ralph. Hey, guys, check this out. I wish I'd have pulled one out. What was it, years ago? Oh, I think it was 6-8 months. It wasn't long after my back had popped, so I was in pain when this happened. I saw Steve Bannon down in Midland City when he showed up and did a little speech and talk, and then you know what, he was interesting.
Oh yeah.
And it was a circle of fanatics around him, and there was protesters that showed up, and they've done the whole 9 yards. And that's where I got my first MAGA hat. But
nice.
I just remember. At one point, I was like, "What the hell am I doing in this crazy room?" But no. Anyway, that begs for details.
Well, I appreciate all the detail on the latest raid.
I hope I didn't bore you too much.
You did not.
The law saw an opportunity to make themselves some money on the side for their programs, and somebody took advantage of it and raided a bunch of places, and they're going to get away with it. All right, that's all I got, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Craig, for coming in. Enjoy both of y'all.
Thanks, Sam.
My pleasure. All right, before we move on, I know that I've kind of jumped the shark with this swan thing, but I just brace yourself.
Okay.
In the United States, it is legal to hunt and eat swans in certain states. These states include Alaska, Utah, Nevada, North Carolina, Virginia, Delaware, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Idaho.
So not legal in Alabama.
I guess not. Wow. I mean,
well, we don't have a lot of swans.
I just didn't know that anywhere had legal swan hunting. That's nuts to
I'm
me.
still like a little upset that you rattled loose that memory from that Libertarian convention. You're right.
Yeah. You did have a you ate a cookie that night.
I did eat a cookie that night.
Was it a good cookie?
It was a good cookie.
Good cookie.
And I went to the VP candidate. Very cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
Really, yeah. Of all the folks there, that guy's a solid guy. I like him a lot. I said, "Are all these conventions like these?" Like, hell no. And it was the most bizarre scene I've ever seen.
It was so disheveled. It looked like a high school party, is what it felt like.
Yes. And then there's Afro Man smoking a full-on marijuana blunt,
marijuana cigarette,
just in the middle of the lobby of the hotel. Like, and nobody cares.
Nobody
cares.
It was so rude. By the way, all of them were smoking pot in that like Dothan Hotel Convention Center. It's like, and it wasn't like the best hotel in the world. It was like, dude, have a little bit of just self-awareness.
Yeah, it's just like, and I just think back on that. Have we known each other for that long? How many years ago was
and it wasn't. That was the first time that we really hung out.
That's true.
Yeah, that was. And I knew you were going to be there. And there were some Mises Caucus, Mises Institute guys who were there, and they were kind of weird and very Hitler Youth in their the way that they presented themselves.
And then you had like the true, like the more druggy freak Nick, like libertarian?
I show up for their business, and I show up in a suit because I'm the only person there in a suit, literally the only person, and I felt very out of place.
Oh, there was this one lady who was like checking you out.
Oh yeah, dude, Joey played the best wingman in the world. Like he was doing some blocking for me when these libertarian ladies were trying to come take a bite.
Because you were the only man in the room with testosterone.
Don't sell yourself short. You got a beard. I don't.
That was back when I was still doing hard drugs. I've said too much.
Yeah.
This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. Hey, libertarians out there. I know a lot of you are low T. You might claim, not all of you, but a lot of you are. And you might think I'm doing fine, man. I feel all right, man. But you probably aren't. You probably don't see any gains from going to the gym. You're probably getting like that skinny fat look, like really pudgy around the middle, just soft everywhere. You're not sleeping well. You're just exhausted trying to get through the day. And that could be mentally and physically. Why don't you get by Montgomery Men's Health? You don't have to be a low T libertarian to get by there either. A lot of guys are experiencing this issue of low testosterone. So get by there. The providers at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They have low T treatments that can truly change men's lives, including treatments that make you feel better on the very same day. Men after treatment can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day that you call. That number 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or you can always go to montgomerymenshealth.com to book your appointment today. Now, in all seriousness, I think back to that evening. It was fine. I stayed there. I got a room, stayed there. Talked to some folks into the wee hours of the night. I remember the drive back the next morning. And how many years ago was that? Three?
Yeah.
I feel so much better than I did then.
Oh, yeah.
Like so much better in so many ways.
And I was already sober when I went there, which made it kind of less fun. That's why I left about 11 o'clock at night when you decided to stay there. But you kind of realize how when you're the one sober guy surrounded by a bunch of intoxicated people, you kind of remember what it was like. And like, I like this so much better. Like, I like being clear-headed, and especially with the booze, like your body, especially when you get older, it's killer.
It's awful. And one of these days I'll tell the whole tale, the whole story. I think a good bit of it. But man, the change, it is possible, folks, and you can feel a heck of a lot better than maybe you once did. There was a little moment where I'm sitting there like a bump on the log, hanging out with Portia, and we're listening to music, and I'm having fun, but I'm kind of, I'm a strikler. Like, it's not many people left, and this really cute, freaky brunette grabs my arms, like, come dance with me, and I'm like, am I falling in love? And it turns out, I'm glad nothing happened. I'll just put it that way. Dodge that bullet.
Wait till you have to tell me the more of those details afterwards. I do remember, who was it? Was it Spike's like comms gal who had like the blue streak in her hair?
Yeah, that was his comms gal.
I feel like she had she had some feelings for old Joseph.
I didn't.
Not your type.
Maybe back then. I was very desperate, but then the desperation drives them all away.
This is true.
Yeah.
It's funny. It is hilarious. I was just talking to my wife about this. The less that you. This has a lot to say about women, by the way. The less you care about other women, the more they start to like harass you and show you attention. Like when I was a teenager and I was girl crazy, I would have like given my left arm to have a girlfriend. Like none of them would talk to me. Now I'm married, I got kids, I'm tall, I'm jacked, I'm handsome, and I don't have time for anyone else's nonsense, especially of the female persuasion. And I have to bat them off with a stick.
Well, and I think there are guys who have a lot of sisters tend to be better with women because they see through it. It's like you know them on a just a very real basis, a brother and sister, and you get to know people and have relationships. And so when like it's not something you put up on a pedestal, so to speak.
Yeah,
or like a foreign thing that I have no clue about.
Well, once and again, I don't remember when this realization happened. When you realize that it's like, oh, this is just another person.
Yeah,
and to a certain extent. like part of my revelation was when I started getting older, started getting hotter. I derived pleasure from making women feel like I felt when I was a teen by showing them zero attention. And then it had the exact effect that you would anticipate, which meant that more women kept going. So now I'll tell young guys that are struggling to get ladies, I'm like, listen, you have to create an emotional reaction in them. It needs to be as close to hatred as you can get. And it works. It works. Women are weird. Their brains are funny. They do weird things. But even the sister thing, I don't even know how that applies to me because I have two sisters. I have an older sister and a younger sister, and they could not be more different. And so they taught me nothing about women because especially my younger sister is just an angel. She just left for college, and it's really bothering me.
There can be that, but and I think the more it's like you just get to see that mindset and how people navigate the world, and the more exposure you have. Whereas it's me, it's just me and my brother and my mom and dad, and it's like I've always been introverted and kind of a loner type and a hopeless romantic on top of that. So
I will say, growing up with sisters, you do learn, let the reader understand here, read between the lines. You begin to sort of fundamentally understand how to track the lunar cycle by habit.
All right.
You're able to keep a monthly calendar down in your head, and it changes the way that you behave.
But it's gotten worse for me to where I used to idealize things.
Really?
Like she's the one.
Ooh.
And it's like, this is the movie I'm in, whatever, and she's the one. That idealization problem has gone in the completely different direction where some beautiful girl would be like, do you want to go see a movie with me this Friday night? Man, the lady's asking me. Then I start thinking about the future and how the first date goes well, and then the second, and then the 10th date, and then we get engaged and married, and it's a small wedding on the beach, but we have our family there and our close friends, and then we have kids and stuff, but then she starts sleeping with her fitness instructor, and I answer back the girl in the present moment who just asked me to go to the movies, I want a divorce, and then they run away. And so it's the complete opposite problem.
It's a skit right there. That needs to be done.
It's a complete opposite problem.
I did that once. When I was a younger man, and when you think, man, the story here is just so perfect, and you start romantic, it never goes well.
Never goes well. No, it doesn't. These days I'm just trying to be some kind of friend, and then work on me.
Just like Mr. Ma'am Donnie is trying to be the friend to all men, of all people, of all persuasions.
God, this guy,
he has
has
impeccable facial hair. I'm just going to point it out.
No, and he's very well spoken. He's a great communicator. Go watch some of those campaign videos. It's it's very well done.
Well, yeah, especially when you're running against tushy grabbing dum
Cuomo.
The alternative at death. Ugh. Him and his brother both jump off a bridge, please.
Gotta hit this break. We'll come back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriff'sYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
This is David Ernest from the Health and Wealth Show. We like to cut up and have fun, maybe poke a little fun at some politicians. but we don't take ourselves too seriously. One thing we do take seriously is your personal finances and your plans for retirement. You can tell by listening, we're a little different. Yeah, we like to have a good time on the radio, but we're dead serious about your financial future and helping you achieve your goals. At Ernest Financial, we're committed to giving you the attention you need. We don't treat you like a number. You're way more important to us. At Ernest Financial, it's about helping you today and preparing you for tomorrow. People call us who are on the verge of retirement, and they know they need a plan for the future. No matter where you are in life, Ernest Financial will help guide your every step towards retirement. Give us a call and let us show you what our individual customer attention can do for your future.
Concerned about your retirement? Call David Ernest toll-free at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Recently, I met with 3 different owners of homes who had the same problem. They wanted to sell their house quick and sell it as is for cash. All 3 people were approached by different investors that said they had cash for their home, signed contracts, only to find out they were not personally going to buy their homes, but to find a buyer willing to pay more than they offered and pocket the difference. It's called wholesaling. Offer a contract to buy a house at a certain price, up to price to other buyers, and pocket the difference. I urge you, don't fall for it. You want to sell your home quick, use a licensed professional realtor, as I have been for 48 years, keeping promises to get homes sold quick. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883.
Hello, this is Pam with All About the Bounce. We have been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for a little over a month now and have seen great results. Thank you, Blue Water, for helping us to bring the bounce to more customers across the river region. Radio advertisement is definitely the best advertisement.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the river region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are radar watching because the potential for some locally strong thunderstorms will continue well into the evening hours tonight. Generally, they fade out overnight, but still very humid overnight, low temperature in the mid-70s. Not much change tomorrow, and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, and probably into midweek, with highs in the low to mid-90s and triple-digit heat indices and more spotty, random afternoon and evening storms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Delray to Publix.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back to the program. Stop bumping my mic, woman. Pamela showed up early to join Craig and I.
And then when she talks, I can't hear her. You heard the mic bump. What are you doing over there, Joey?
No, it bumped my mic. I hadn't turned hers on.
Oh,
yeah.
How? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Sometimes they touch.
So sorry.
The honesty is too much, and I have to hang my head in class.
Yeah. So, do you want to chastise us for that last segment?
Oh no.
It was accurate.
How desperate would you have to be to eat a swan?
It would just have to be available.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
I
I mean, I've heard about the ribeye of the sky, and
I want to go sandhill crane hunting so bad.
yeah, I've heard those are actually really, really good, like red meat.
Yeah, out of a bird. It's weird.
That is. Weird.
I'm not one of this. I'm saying some very polarizing things this week, but
Okay.
I'm not a bleeding heart for animals like a lot of people.
No, I'm not either.
I mean, I
don't like cruelty.
Oh
but-
no,
Right.
no,
I there is a line, absolutely, but like Greg can't watch a movie where a dog dies without crying his eyes out. It just doesn't have the same effect on me.
I do.
as
You
people.
know those people that are super obsessed with dogs. Like they bother me.
I
At
think
a
I've heard you
visceral
talk
level.
about that before.
Because it's like fine. Like for instance, I hunt minorly farm and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and I am and I kill and I eat, but I am incredibly ethical with it because I think it's a responsibility, like to cultivate nature. And you do. This is where the Muslims, by the way, are far better than the West.
Really?
Because the halal restrictions are mainly.
Why don't you move to New York City?
Well, they're mainly ethically to protect the animal. So the animal, first of all, the knife has to be razor sharp when you kill it, and you cannot kill an animal that has seen. You can't kill animals in front of other animals.
Oh wow!
So they can't know what's about to happen, and then
Aw.
you have to slice the throat in a certain way. It's a very ethical thing that they do.
But is that really more ethical?
I think it is. You don't, because I'm telling you, you can taste fear. And I'm not joking.
Sure.
I have killed a deer.
Well,
deer.
yeah, because it changes their hormones.
but think about it, like-
when those hormones spike.
But
Absolutely.
if some superior being to us, like, kept us in some, like, paradise, idyllic conditions, and like we were well fed and all this stuff, and one of the days, Craig disappears. You're like, what happened to Craig? Oh, I don't know. He went off to retire. And then it turns out that when Craig didn't see it coming, they slit his throat and they
They made
feasted.
sure we didn't see it.
And then they sent the bones to the glue factory.
Well, think about it. Would you, if you're like at an assembly line, like an assembly line watching, you're 10 persons ahead and you're watching them get killed, that would be horrific until you know that it's coming to you. But if you're just kind of like hanging out, oh, what's this? Some grass, and then you're dead. Like that's a great way to go.
Right. Well, and I have to say, like in No Country for Old Men, Shuker was very ethical about it. He at least had an ethic.
Movie.
Like, yeah.
I love that movie.
Highly is a good
It's one of those Coen Brother movies where it's like it's just sound and fury signifying nothing.
Well, and those
Great
early
stories.
Cormac McCarthy novels are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of watching it. I think the best way they did it was burn after reading. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
You have to watch
Brad
it.
Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Oh,
The whole, and it was the only one where they sort of broke the fourth wall of the Coen brothers ethos, where he was just like, well, at the end of the movie is what's his name? Oh, God, I can't remember. He's just going, what was this all about? I don't know. And then the movie ends.
Well, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is up there for the movies.
So good.
And it was so like period accurate. My grandfather, my dad's dad, who grew up in
love that
very
movie.
poor in South Alabama, said, no, this reminds me of how I grew up in a lot of ways.
You know, a movie that's like that you have to watch. It's called Joe with Nicolas Cage.
Joe.
They hired like an actual hobo to play a character in this. So like he plays this drunk hobo and his son, and they're just doing like grunt manual labor, just redneck stuff. And I'm like, this is my family. Like this is like growing up doing construction. When I was homeless doing construction, it was like, oh, this was my life. And it's so great. And that's what the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? John Goodman's fat pastor in a white suit. Like I've met that pastor.
Yeah.
Let's go to Flower Child. Hey, Flower Child.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
Hi. Did you know that swans mate for life?
I did. The lady wouldn't stop talking about it in the thing.
Yeah.
The mate is crying out. Ah.
The mute mate.
Okay. Well, anyway, I didn't know if you know that. And you know what's the bigger picture here to me is that those swans provided so much enjoyment to the people that lived around that neighborhood. And those young guys just think that their rights are more important than everybody else's rights. That's what's wrong with our society. And I hope the judge makes them have to clean kennels at the Humane Society for a month. And I hope that every dog in there has diarrhea. Is the way that would be my punishment for them. We used to have a pair of swans up here. They called them Romeo and Juliet, and one of the dogs, which you can't get a dog. I mean, I'm not faulting the dog, but they killed one of the mates, and so the other one, like you said, is just sad forever.
Wait, did the dog have diarrhea afterwards?
But anyway, it's just it's the thought process there that I'm more important than anybody else around here that might possibly be enjoying these animals is what I think is the true crime here. That they don't think so little of their humanity. And then, have y'all talked about big balls today?
Oh, that fella left Doge and he's landed at a job in what?
Social Security.
Oh, nice. Good for big balls.
Yeah. I just hope they catch all these people that have been cashing grandma and grandpa's checks, etc. Will make me happy. And the other thing is, Craig, I don't know, but I think you were saying that they don't have stand-up paddleboarding at the Whitewater, but they do.
No, I said that they were working on it. Do they actually have it available now? Like the flat water?
Well, it's on their brochure, and I was out there about 6 weeks ago, and they had the pond there, and they had the boards. Now, whether they're
that's cool.
Oh, I was just basing that on what the guy had told me. He said they were developing it, so I mean, maybe he just meant expanding. So I'm not quite sure.
You think you could have swans around the paddleboarding?
Probably. I mean, even swans avoid Montgomery.
like living obstacles.
Well, you know as well as I do, this is not going to go over well. It's just like when Trump said, they're eating the cats. They're eating the cats, you know. It doesn't go, something like that doesn't go well with the Americans, you know. I mean, we love our pets. And
unhealthily so.
Yes, in some cases. I agree with you, though. My stance is the same as yours. Why do they have any more right to the swan than anybody else's? That's a huge sense of entitlement.
Because they're tasty.
You don't know they're eating it.
So those kids weren't going to eat it. They may have given it to grandma to cook it or something like that. You know what I'm. But
yeah, you know, Ebenezer Scrooge. You know, he paid to get the biggest goose in all the land after he woke up from his tryst with the three angels.
Tryst.
Yeah,
well,
tryst.
Nice.
Anyway, I just think it's again, that's what's wrong with society. Is everybody thinks that they're more important than the next person standing there.
Well, Flower Child, I think this was my favorite call of the week.
I agree. Very rational, very clear.
Perfect. And we got to be funny as well. I appreciate it, ma'am.
Bye. Y'all have a good week. Hey, what days are you working next week, Joey?
Just Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, we'll have a fun trip.
Thank you. Bye. And tell Eddie, like, I'm already on to him.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's when you go to Nashville.
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
Eddie's over here texting this guy.
Yeah.
And like they're gonna try to pull the same stunt again. Like have some crazy woman call me up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All this stuff.
The problem with you is you're forever going to be sort of like blinded because crazy ladies are your forte. And
I seem to attract it.
You're always going to be wondering if this is an Eddie plant from now until the end of time.
Yeah, you're not going to trust anybody. The issues are deep now.
I'll get over it. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Clint.
Hey, Clint.
Hey, who's that guy you had on at 12:30 hour?
Same guy that's on right now in the 2:45 hour.
What's happening?
Okay. Well, I got some criticism for him.
Okay.
Oh, that's new.
I'll listen to that. And I don't think the young man knows what he's talking about.
Correct me.
To tell you the truth. Well, everything you said, I totally disagree with. So, young man.
Such as?
You know, that it don't matter. I heard it. You said it. So there you go. And also,
put that in a brochure. Oof, poignant.
Doves mate for life too. So yeah, man, I totally disagree with what you said.
Would you eat a dove?
All right, have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Oh, Clint, would you eat a dove? Oh, come on.
No.
Clint
I
is
wouldn't eat
no
a dove.
fun. You wouldn't eat a dove.
I don't think so.
You ever been dove hunting?
I have.
No, I haven't.
You kind of get in what? You get in the circle?
Yeah, you got to get in a circle out there in the field and
wait.
Kind of wait. Or you honestly, the circle kind of just moves, and as they spook and they fly up, a lot of times you'll hit them.
Yeah, and you're all just kind of shooting up.
Yeah, but I was kind of younger, and I killed one or two things that weren't doves. just regular, just birds, and I eat them. Again, there's not,
And
there's
that's why we
nothing-
don't talk about Uncle Lester.
There's nothing there's nothing I kill that I won't eat. So if I make an accident, if I make an oopsie, I have to eat the oopsie.
Killed a squirrel with a shotgun once. It was
With a
there was nothing.
shotgun?
There's
Yeah,
nothing
it's
left.
obliterated.
I
No,
killed
we
the
were-
rabbit with an AR-15.
We were walking around the property in Andalusia. It's the first time I'd really learned to fire off a shotgun and like saw it and we're like, can I? And like, yeah, go for it.
Andalusia is actually where I did most of my hunting. That's where I did my dove hunting.
It's a good area.
It's a great spot.
Good area.
But yeah, dove actually, they're a fun hunt, but they really just produce their breast. That's all that there's.
It's not that great.
It's like the size of like a scallop, so it's not really
Yeah.
the juice isn't really worth the squeeze.
Yeah, somebody gifted it to me, and I'm like, it's all right.
What is the limit on them when you go hunting?
I don't remember. I don't think there might not be one because they're not
you get
exactly easy
so
to
little
kill.
in your harvest, so you
I
need
guess.
to get a
They're a
truck
pretty-
full of them.
They're a pretty prolific bird, so I don't. Last time I checked, I don't think there was a limit.
Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Uncle Ron. How y'all doing today?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Hey.
Oh, I'm pretty good. It's Friday, on the way home. Vacation next week, so that's great.
You're here.
Hey, Joey, you was talking about shooting a dove or eating a dove.
Mm-hmm.
Back when my son was about 6, maybe 7 years old, we lived in Auburn. Yes, I said that word. But anyway, we had a corn feeder out there for the deer, and the dove would come in there. And I was teaching him to shoot a BB gun. And so we were out there just planking cans and stuff. And then he said, well, Daddy, can we shoot one of those birds? And I said, if you'll eat it. And he said, okay. And darn if he didn't hit the bird.
Ah, awesome.
So we went ahead and shot 3 or 4 more and wrapped them up in bacon after we dressed them. And man, they were so good. That just made me think of that. It's good memories, you know.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
That is a good memory.
Yeah. Head out to the smokehouse. They'll be all right.
Yeah, there you go. Appreciate it, Uncle Ron.
It's like actually one of the best birds to eat is pigeon. Have you ever had
Pigeon?
pigeon?
I've never eaten
I've had pheasant.
Again, moved to New York City.
It's called squab in fancy restaurants.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah,
They
pheasant's
pull one
really,
over on you.
Yeah, pheasant's really good.
Like, I'm trying to think. I think most of the wild game or odds, like elk, I think is overrated. I've had that at restaurants.
Well, you haven't had it right.
Okay.
I'll hook you up.
Okay. All right. I thought it was just okay, though. Like, give me some beef.
Well, yeah. To me, beef is king. Like, it's
hard to beat beef.
Yeah, meat. Well, hold on. No, yeah, beef is king. I thought about it for a second, but a good close second would be a good like yellowfin tuna.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like high quality.
Yeah, high quality.
Mhm.
Eat it raw, eat it seared. I don't care. Just eat it. And it's
Yeah,
not
I do
fatty.
think beef is my top meat, and it's going to be tough to beat that top meat.
Pork is good, but there's not much meat that you can't really go wrong with any meat as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you just have to cook it right.
So you're saying
Oh
pork
my
could beat
gosh.
your beef?
No.
But the people that talk about they don't like certain things, it's 100% of the time it's because they just grew up eating it cooked like garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
and,
true.
People are afraid to cook with seasonings and oils. It's like what you don't realize that like a beef has a lot of fat in and of itself, same with pork, but they'll cook like something really lean with no fat whatsoever. And they're like, oh, this tastes dry. Yeah, no shiz, moron.
I keep referencing New York, and I keep seeing this fella's face. So let's
your
just
dreams?
play this clip. No, this guy gives me the creeps.
Oh gosh.
So when people say democratic socialist, right? And I'm curious what you think this means. I mean, do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors, and we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it, like I'm planning to do.
And make everybody poor.
Right.
Dumbass.
It's like they never think that, hey, yeah, government is the reason why things are getting more expensive. So let's stop doing that. No, what we're going to do is redistribute everyone's stuff so that everyone can equally afford all of our stuff that we're raising the price of through inflation and through regulation, et cetera, et cetera. It's such a dumb critique. And I thought he was going to give if you give like a Marx critique of capitalism, then that's more of a critique of the Industrial Revolution more than anything else.
Yeah.
So it's not a critique of capitalism, especially like laissez-faire capitalism, which just works.
Like free markets.
It just works.
Yeah.
So like
it really does.
So his critique is like the wealth isn't everywhere and people can't afford things. Well, look somewhere else other than moving people's money.
So I wish he had asked him. So Javier Milei and Argentina is wrong. That didn't work.
Yeah.
No, it's I think 5.8 GDP growth. They said beat China.
It's incredible.
After slashing through, like it's one of the most libertarian reforms of government we've seen in a long, long time, and it works.
Afuera.
And it's beautiful. And yet we still get dopes like that saying, no, if we just had a little more socialism, then the income inequality built off the progressive agenda of the people in New York City we just need to go further down the road.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man, a pack of cigarettes here costs $9. A pack of cigarettes in New York costs like 21.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so people can't afford their stuff. How is that not your fault? Like, how is that not the regulatory agencies and the fact that people have to mark up prices because of ridiculous land and insurance costs? All these things that affect to the final price at the POS, at the point of sale, all of the things that make that price rise come from the government. For 99% of it.
Most of the time. Anyway, we got to hit this last break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Put the power of Action 8 News in the palm of your hand. Download the free Action 8 News app to stay on top of breaking news wherever you are. Search for WAKA News in your app store to download the Action 8 News app today. Keep your family safe by watching Action 8 News. Look for 8 on Your Side consumer alerts with product recalls involving cars, food, children's toys, and other items in your home. 8 on Your Side, keeping you safe only on Action 8 News.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Ray Bowles is at the beach.
Oh.
So y'all remember to stop by Prattville Carpet. They can help you with any sort of resurface job. New carpet, new traditional hardwood. Maybe you want new ceramic tile on that countertop or a big walk-in shower. They can do it all. It's just a free in-home measurement, but you got to call them up, 285-8117. And when you call them at 285-8117, be sure to say, hey, that Joey fella was talking about y'all and see what y'all can do for me. And I like that Ray guy, too. Anyway, is there anything we learned today? Anything at all?
We learned that you can hunt swans in the United States of America.
Well, I was amazed that we didn't get more pushback from your vehement anti-Zionism.
My vehement? Oh, yeah, I did that was on a secret.
Right, we got a little from Clint. I think that's what he was trying to say.
Is that what he was talking about?
Yeah,
probably. And I'd be happy to. This is one of those situations. It's kind of like so I get into a lot of arguments in the theological realm, for instance, because I'm a Calvinist, and it's one of those things where I'm just so confident that I'm right. I have zero fear about having the conversation. I'm just so confident that the facts are on my side that it really means nothing to me. It's like, okay, let's have the conversation.
I get the impression you're like that about everything.
No, I'm not. I'm not about that.
Craig's pretty
a lot
reasonable.
Of things.
I am reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about tariffs. I've been pretty clear.
He has
I have
strong
heard that.
beliefs. He'll voice those strong beliefs, but you could
Mhm.
be like, yeah, but I mean, it could be this. And he'd be like, yeah, okay.
Even like this goofball in New York, I was watching Twitter, people freaking out. It's like, oh, you mean a liberal fruitcake got elected in New York City? What? Perish the thought.
But I knew like the true place where my heart was and mind as well this morning as I was getting ready as I told you off air, watching some of the Dave Smith and Alika something debate on Piers Morgan. And Dave really did a number on her. But I'm in the frame of mind. I'm like, Dave, stop it. She's a goddess. You stop. She's an angel.
Her lips are preposterous. I'm sorry, that lip filler is ridiculous.
I need to look this up.
The lips of Aphrodite.
Yeah, I mean,
she's an angel. You stop
it's
criticizing
like
her.
trying to kiss her would be like trying to bite into a living fish.
Hold on. I need
Sounds
to
pretty
see
awesome.
this so I can.
Raw and wriggly.
Give it to us.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's Elica is her name, and she's an Iranian.
Yeah, I made a very mean. I responded to it in a very mean way, and it's getting a lot of likes.
Oh, yeah.
Alicia, ELICALEBON.
Alika Lebon.
Alika Lebon.
Yeah, I'm like, she's a goddess. You shut up, Dave. I don't care. I don't care if I agree with you on a lot of your points of view.
Pamela, back me up. Those lips are ridiculous. Like if you
And
want to
she speaks English, but it's like a British accent. So I'm like, I'm just like, that's where my heart has been all day.
there's no way that's not filler, though, right? There's 0% chance.
This video I'm watching, it looks, yeah, there's a little bit of something.
She's definitely had work done.
Yeah. I think that a lot of ladies are doing the cheekbones now. I've noticed.
She has filler in her cheeks, her chin, and her lips, at least, and definitely Botox.
Well, what is the thing? Because it used to be that they would contour.
Y'all are ruining it.
Hey,
Well, she ruined herself first.
With all your analytical, like she's beautiful and you need to shut up.
No, I thought we were done with this cosmetological trend in ladies, like the trend of too
Go
much.
natural.
Exactly. Like
Tweak the natural.
Yeah,
With
well- Yeah, who cares about hair?
it's like those. Bill Burr had this great bit when he talks about the ladies with the Botox. He goes, "What would you rather do? Be 55 and look 55, or be 55 and look like a 40-year-old lizard?" I think that's brilliant. Like, why? Why you look unnatural? You look
Yes.
weird. Even when they went crazy, they had those little foam eggs. What are they called? That they would rub the
The beauty blenders.
beauty blenders. Thank you so much.
People still use those.
Like there
People
was
wear a lot of makeup now. A lot.
when you see them and they look like a walking Instagram filter, it's unsettling. It's like Tim Burton drew them. It's
And you never find them if they went missing and you use those pictures of
this
them.
is true. That's what I like about the people that try to make
Because like if you
We're out
lick
of
your
time.
thumb and wipe their face,
I'm
it's a
gonna
totally different skin tone.
I'm gonna die alone.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. The Trump administration winning a major victory at the Supreme Court today. Justices ruled that individual judges lack the authority to grant nationwide injunctions that effectively block presidential executive